Hello everybody and welcome to our hit show, which changed its name from the J. Peterman show to its current working title, Elitist Chess Nerds. Today, your beloved crew of Elitist Chess Nerds will cover the FIDE-Chess.com online Nations Cup and Peter Svidler. We have a big match coming up between China and the USA. Those are the co-leaders. China's leading and USA is in shared second. Peter is muted. Why is Peter muted? He should not be muted. Tech boys, why is Peter muted? No, I hear you. And it's also all switched on the thingy. All right. That will be sorted out. Peter said all kinds of stuff about who's in the lead. I'll figure it out. 1 second. Can you say something just for fun?
Yeah, I can.
I can still hear you. So maybe this will just be a quiet meditation for the viewers. Or I can talk and you guys can imagine what Peter said. Or I can talk to Peter and then I can tell you what Peter said and you can believe it or not. Oh no, they can hear you. That's a pity. No, that's not really a pity. That's great news. So what were we talking about? China's leading.
China is in the lead, but they are playing their direct chasers, I wanted to call it, but they're not actually whiskey chasers. But yeah, China versus the US should be clearly the most interesting matchup of today's first round, so we should be concentrating on that.
China. Who's playing? It's Ding Liren, the world number 3 in all the formats. No, he's world number 3 in classical and rapid. And he is playing against Hikaru Nakamura, the world number 1 in Blitz, world number 4 in rapid. So this is as big as it gets. As long as our boy, Magnus Carlsen, is not involved. He's not playing this tournament. He talked about his reasons a little bit yesterday when he was on the show. Karana against Wang Hao. Fabi back in the lineup for the USA. I think, yeah, we've seen in the Magnus Invitational that he is improving all the time in rapid as well. Black against Wang Hao, however, no pun intended, not exactly an easy game for anybody, especially in terms of winning chances. Dominguez, Yu Yang Yi. Both strong. Dominguez, former Blitz world champion, very booked up. Yu Yangyi, we've talked about. Had a bit of a down second half of 2019. But so far it's pretty balanced. And then the women's board, of course. China is a heavy favorite with Hou Yifan facing Irina Krush.
Yeah, all true. Still don't know if I'm audible or not.
You're audible, yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Irina is not a pushover by any means, but Hou Yifan, I think, has already shown in this tournament that she is, if not best, back to her very best, and definitely back to perfect fighting shape. And depending on colors, I suppose it could be. She could be more or less of a favorite, but she does start as a heavy favorite against Irina.
She's white.
Then yes, it will be a difficult pairing for Team USA.
Of course, there are other pairings. There's the rest of the world versus Europe. There's India versus Russia. But on this little show, because it's hard to cover 12 games at a time, maybe in the first round, as long as we get them PGNs. But we've found ways to get them the last couple days, so I'm assuming we'll have them today as well. We can focus on the USA-China match as long as it stays interesting, and then jump around a little bit once it's decided, or once you, the dear viewers, report fire on board in Firouzja Aronian. That's a fun game, actually. We will jump in there as well.
That is something that we should probably at least keep half an eye on. And they will be starting shortly. As usual, there might be a mild delay before we start getting the moves in, but once we do, we shall have liftoff.
It's like in the discotheque. Always need a while before you get the moves in. That was weak. That's going to be the level of today's show. We are happy, however, that you're joining us. I have the Twitch chat open and the Chess24 chat, and our friend Blobix is there. Blobix, he's on withdrawal. There's no French show. Laurent Fressinet is taking a well-deserved holiday. I hear he went to the Cayman Islands, living the life. Therefore, no French coverage, but we're glad that Blobix is here with us.
Very much so.
Potina7 is saying, Merkel cut Jan's hair herself. Yeah, I got a haircut yesterday. Was a
it
fun
continues
experience.
continues being extremely upsetting, and
but you could probably get one, right?
well, some kind of an undercover haircut is probably still available if you actively go in search of it. But
no, I mean the hairdressers are closed. Like here, they are reopened.
They are.
I was wearing a mask during the haircut, so it was hard to get to all the sensitive places. And it's also a hairdresser I had never been to before, because there was an empty seat. So I went in, jumped in there. The guy put me into the chair, grabbed my head, put it down above the sink. I said, no, it's fine, just cut the thing short. He said, no, hygiene rules, must wash it. And he very gently washed my hair, then took out this, I don't even know what's called, this machine. He asked, how many millimeters? I panicked, I had no idea, because usually I just, get a cut. So I said 8 millimeters, because I remembered that's a movie. So here we are.
Here we are indeed. Still waiting for action to start, so it's a little bit slow so far, and I do feel
you didn't like my haircut story? It's very hurtful. Tell us a story. What's going on in your household? Is Daniel practicing?
I did like your haircut story, but like any haircut story right now, it just fills me with such abject depression that like people around me are. There are stories of haircuts, and I'm not part of that narrative at all, as you can see on your screen. And it's.
But you were rocking this haircut even in the haircuts being available days, no? Like a little bit of a Beatles vibe
maybe
there?
5 years ago, but not really since then. No, I think I think this would have been lopped off a few weeks ago normally.
Nizahe is saying, Peter Jan, I'm assuming Dodgy sent you guys samples of the cake he baked. Are we going to get a review segment?
I would very much like that on like both in terms of the absolute golden content or content as the case may be. I was educated on the topic of the correct pronunciation of content and content, depending on whether it's a
well, you work in the content business, so you better.
Yeah. But I instantly forgot, and am back to being completely clueless on the topic. But yeah, sadly the cake hasn't arrived yet. Maybe it has arrived to Jan's, but Russian Post is notoriously hungry, so
no cake. Me personally, I'd like to have Dodgy's cake and eat it too. Obviously, after the guy that tastes all my food before I touch it has tried it, made sure it's not poisonous. But I think it's gonna take a while. No, it has to by horse carrier make it through Swedish snow. Then it has to cross the border, which is probably tricky nowadays. I'm not sure I'll get any Dodgy cake in 2020.
Yeah, and I wanted to say the sacrifices we all make, but this is not entirely a sacrifice, but because it's difficult to sacrifice something you've never had. But it is a very, very heartbreaking thing that the beautiful, beautiful Dodgy cake is not going to be reviewed live on this show.
I disagree, though. I never had Nepomniachtchi's queen, and it's very easy for me to sacrifice it with d takes c4, for example. But that's not going to happen. This is the Grunfeld line they discussed in this Anish MVL, and obviously other games were in the mix as well. What can you tell us about this?
Well, this is one of the most direct ways of trying to equalize against the bishop d2 Grunfeld. I think current thinking, once again, yeah, I should probably cut down on the once agains. I'm not a huge specialist because I generally played something else against the bishop d2 with black, but I think this stands reasonably well these days. I think black is supposed to equalize if he plays precisely, but positions sort of exactly like the one we are looking at right now have always been a bit worrying for me, and I tried doing something else. Normally, didn't feel like you're running no risks whatsoever in these types of positions. But Jan has been playing bishop g7 followed by takes on c3 and c5 for a while now, and appears to be quite happy with the positions he's getting there. So I think trusting him would not be the worst idea in the world here.
I trust Vishy. Vishy Anand playing board 1 for India. This is the match India versus Russia, of course. In Vishy Anand, a lot has been written and said about poor Vishy being trapped in Germany during these strange times we're living in for the last 2-3 months. I have to say, though, I'm not sure how tough a spot he's in. He's in Bad Soden, living in this apartment where he spent a lot of time, which he, I'm assuming, owns there. So I guess, of course, it's tough to be apart from your family and so on. But Vishy is not really stranded in a foreign land. He's very familiar with the surroundings where he's in. Yeah,
but being away, once again, I wasn't really aware of that narrative. I think maybe yesterday's show, and I don't know exactly what's happening there. But if he is away from Achil and Aruna, this is clearly not great.
I think what's happening is just he came to Germany, played Bundesliga. We played together in Bremen. That was the last time I left the house.
Whoa. We need to actually start discussing this.
Why? Vishy stuck in Germany. He's trying to pass the time checkmating Nepomniachtchi, who does not pause to think of.
Yeah, just doesn't stop for anything. Just goes bishop takes c4 here. I assume the idea is maybe to play e5 first and then f6. Yeah.
e5 blitzed out.
This is incredibly scary, obviously, in particular if you don't know exactly what's happening here, because it's extremely possible you just get mated. But even Jan, I think, would have thought for a bit before taking on c4 if he didn't know the answer. I would hope. Because, I mean, currently I have no idea how to meet the very simple threat of f6, queen h6, knight g5, and mate.
Also,
Maybe
Jan
we go...
probably saw this e5, f6 coming. No, he's not. He's blitzed into strange spots, but this one? So
yeah,
what's the point?
And
F6?
also queen
resign?
d7. Queen d7 played instantly. What's happening here? Why are we not resigning exactly?
Let's just illustrate this, checkmate, still checkmate.
What are we missing after f6? I've kind of annoyed myself quite a bit in the past few shows by actually looking at computer lines. I will try to not do that today. But
I have not looked at a single computer line. That's why we almost seem equal strength on these shows sometimes.
Okay, computer. I mean, I looked at chat, and yeah, f6 is mate in 5.
Yeah, like, we're not that stupid, right?
Yeah, that's how it looked to me as well. And
Jan is pausing now. Now he's gonna think and resign. Yeah, like he does some strange things in these events.
No, but seriously though, why? Why? I mean,
at least after f5, you could pause for like 30 seconds and
it's
try
very
to figure
possible
out the
you
guy's
already
giving me
lost.
bishop.
But
he's a world champion. Maybe I should, consider this. Maybe it's too late, but it's strange.
Yeah, but I mean, playing bishop takes c4 and then queen d7 and spending like half a minute combined on those two moves and then just actually getting mated on the board is a little bit bizarre, even by Jan standards, I think.
f5 was already winning, we're being told. So yeah, bishop e6 is not what they played. No, I don't know my way around here very well, but I think this is the position they had in this Anish game against MVL, where something else, not bishop e6 was played. And you can trust Vishy to have had a look at these things. So yeah, Jan Nepomniachtchi is being mated in maximum
and
22 moves.
We're being told that some kind of a misclick is being reported. Chat is saying that he's already left the call and well, at least the room where he is on call, and apparently so some kind of a malfunction happened there. But
come on, what misclick? Seriously, you did not misclick bishop takes c4. You did not misclick queen d7, and if you did, you're dead lost anyway after queen d8 f6. So
no, maybe he thought queen d8 f6, bishop like knight d7, queen h6, knight f6, but then knight g5,
knight g5 and checkmate. Come on. That sounds
queen
like
d8 instead of queen d7, but
excuse.
Yeah, but you still resign though. I'm very sure this is kind of the point, and you still resign.
And it's also not exactly rocket science at Vishy Anand level. So we don't know. Let's see if the misclick narrative, maybe Vishy is gracious and allows Nepomniachtchi to correct queen d7 to queen d8.
and then wins anyway. Yeah,
come on.
I know what you mean. Yeah, and welcome to Alexander Miroshnichenko, who graciously joined us in chat today. I've already had to grovel a little bit on that topic. Sorry, Miro, it will not happen again.
First names are overrated. All right, so Vishy is gonna win, but yeah, strange game by Nepomniachtchi. We're not quite sure what happened. I am pretty sure that queen d7 or queen d8 would not exactly.
Yeah, I think you still lose, because of knight g5 in the end of that line. So it doesn't change very much. You really are not supposed to be here with 23 minutes on the clock.
Maybe it's a weak engine situation. Blobix, our resident computer expert, is saying it seems chess24 Stockfisk makes the same misclick and is blind till f5. Yeah, sometimes it's a horizon thing with these slow mates. Still, it's a bit strange. So Anand, for now it's listed as 1-0, and we should switch maybe to the USA-China match as advertised.
already there's also some really bizarre happenings.
Not this one. This is a theoretical Alapin position.
Not this one. This one is very dry. But have a look at the Fabi position. Like, how is black not?
No, how is white?
Much better.
Fabi's black.
Yes, and how is he not much better by move 15 with black here?
Maybe he is. Black squares.
Yeah, knight c4, and now we can go e5 instantly, or we can even trade one pair of knights first and then go e5. It's just such a strange position for Hou to find himself in straight out of the opening here.
Yeah, this looks bad. You will end up with silly bishop against Power Knight on e5.
Yeah, that bishop on g2 will be...
No, he played e5.
He goes e5
still.
straight away. He can trade them on the b6 square anyway if he wants. Yeah,
yeah.
it's just... I mean, the big question remaining here is whether Black will ever be able to, open enough files to get significant progress. But yeah, just a very, very strange position to have straight out of knight f3 g3 with the white pieces.
Yeah, this doesn't look great, although Karana pretty good at chess. It's not a surprise. Still, Wang Hao super solid. That is
I mean, no blame attaches to Fabi, but Hao normally is extremely solid with white and actually even reasonably well prepared these days. I think he's done a lot of work for the candidates, and yeah, I just wouldn't expect him to be so, I mean, hopeless in a sense that he now will be shuffling his pieces back and forth for the next however many moves. I don't think his position is hopeless, but it's cheerless. Let's call it cheerless.
Tell me about it. Here we have a Petrov debate on board number 3. Petrov is pretty much what Yu Yangyi does, and Anish was complaining that he always plays a new move, this Yu Yangyi. He's so hard to pin down, even though he only plays Petrov. He has a lot of variety in his lines. This position, I have to admit, I'm not very familiar with. Knight e5. Normally people were playing knight d7 here, so I'm not quite sure what's going on. Looks like the typical white is having some pressure. Black has some decisions to make about what structure he wants. But
yeah, but this particular position I've never seen before, and it's kind of difficult to find those in the Petrov these days. So yeah, kudos to I think both of them, but maybe more Yu Yangyi for trying something relatively new today.
And with Wang Hao,
I still like this for white.
Yeah, it looks nice. With Wang Hao in trouble, I'm assuming China will rely even more on Hou Yifan scoring with the white pieces against Irina Krush.
Yeah,
of course,
this
Irina
is a fun
Krush.
line. Yeah, this is a fun line which I at some point tried preparing from the white side as a kind of a backup against bishop d7. People don't actually play bishop d7 these days all that much. It used to be the absolute main move, and then everybody and their dog started playing knight d7 instead. I think the problem with c4 is that Black, if he wants, or she wants, and as the case may be today, in my analysis, I think I found some ways to more or less annihilate the entire board and just make up what appeared to me to be a forced draw. But I, of course, cannot remember exactly how. And what they have on the board right now is sort of what white is aiming for in these lines. A kind of a position where black has this majority in the center, but white has nice DNC files for the rooks, space on the queen side, some annoying play against the a7 pawn. Let's say if the rook goes to c8, the pawn on a7 might become a target. It already had to be protected on the previous move. On the other hand, if black gets to play d6, d5 somewhere, and white doesn't have a good reply to it, black instantly is completely fine, and maybe even more.
So Hou Yifan is our teammate in Baden-Baden, and she played this season. I saw her in February, and we were commiserating her that she was probably stuck in Europe because it's safe here after this horrible coronavirus outbreak in China, and she was making plans. She wasn't sure. I think she was planning to go to Denmark because it was tricky to return to China. The tide has turned there a little bit, but I'm curious. I'm assuming she's back in China, but I don't know. Maybe she's stuck in Germany too, or in Denmark.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
Mm-hmm. You really don't, or you just don't want to tell us?
No, I'm clueless, as per usual.
I'm reading Nakamura has blundered. Has he? Like this position, this looks like standard stuff. You can defend the pawn, obviously. He gave it with bishop h6. Did he miss queen d4?
I think you're supposed to include bishop c6, bc, and then play bishop h6. Isn't this how it goes?
Yeah, that you can do as well.
Takes,
I think I even had a
it,
game like this. Bishop h6, bishop f6.
Knight e4, and here I think you cannot take, but they go queen d8. I don't know why you can't take, to be honest. I think it looks like maybe you can take, but even here, rook d1, queen e5. I distinctly remember some position with queen where knight e4, queen d8 was played, but maybe it's not this one.
I think I had a game like this, and they just played rook d1 and or maybe bishop h6, bishop f6, rook d1, some king h8, and I was doing fine. But yeah, I'm not sure either. But has he blundered now? Bishop h6, queen d4, queen g3.
Well, black appears to be just a pawn up, right? We can play queen f6, drive that bishop away, and I mean white will have some compensation because he has the pair of bishops, but yeah, I don't think this has been pre-planned by Hikaru. The compensation doesn't appear to be huge, and also bishop d6, the move that Ding chose, is also very logical. Probably forces white to take on g7 with the bishop, right? And then we take on g3, h2, and on d4, and yeah, that endgame looks kind of bad.
I don't want to play this against Ding.
Yeah, that is a bad endgame for white. It's just
he did a bad thing. Yeah.
Yep.
In the meantime, Fabi's playing chess, not checkers.
No, it's Fabi, but like g7, g5 here, and in general, maybe we've overstated the advantage black had there, because if you can't stop bishop takes f4 and then h4, maybe it's not that horrible for white. And now I think Hou goes h5, and then it's a bit interesting because black probably still is a little bit better, right? Like king g7, h6, put the pawn on f6 or not, it's a matter of taste. And then we start preparing the b5 break. Because that bishop on g2, that is one sad piece.
Yeah,
that is one sad piece.
Won't have a lot of stuff to do. We should report, for those of you just arriving, that Vishy Anand has won in not a lot of moves against Jan Nepomniachtchi. Right out of the gate here. White is already winning. There were some reports that Nepomniachtchi had made a misclick. I'm not sure if that's true or not. And can't really figure out where. I read that queen d7 might have been the misclick. But if he goes queen d8, he's also completely lost after f6. So that narrative does not really save at least his position. So we're not sure what happened, but Vishy Anand with a very quick 1-0 for Team India.
Yeah, and also in that match, just briefly, we kind of promised to concentrate on US versus China, but Vladislav Artemiev appears to have a reasonably safe extra pawn against Hari. Although Hari did manage to now attack the pawn on d4 in such a way that it probably gets picked up, and then black does have, I think, reasonable drawing chances. Because I assume white picks up the c6 pawn in reply. I don't think you just win the pawn on d4. But trading c6 for d4. Yeah, this is the one I would be maybe trying to avoid. Unless the d pawn just queens, then then I wouldn't be. But yeah, this actually looks kind of strong.
Yep.
Knight d8 might be more or less forced, and then
yeah, now we have options.
We should have a move, yeah.
All right, Adiban back in business. India has substituted Vidit, who lost his first 3 games. Not a big surprise there. And they brought in the beast, Bhaskaran Adiban, whose mom is called Leela, but he does not really play computer chess, a very free spirit, even though today he's playing the line that everyone is supposed to play these days. Bishop f4, Queen's Gambit declined. e3, knight bd7, bishop e2. And Kayakin chooses a different line than what we've seen from Nakamura in his games, who played, c5, dc, bishop c5. Kayakin starts with a6, a4, now plays c5, which is surprising. Here they usually go knight d5, because after c5, d5, you're supposed to be in trouble.
I thought this was, like, even I have seen a number of games starting from this position, and black we're doing, like, you have to defend, but it didn't seem to me like the problems are insurmountable as such. But
Yeah, I can only claim these computer numbers, even like after queen takes d8. It's not fun for black, so I'm a bit surprised by this choice.
Yeah, but maybe
Kayakin-
Sergei just doesn't believe he will have too much trouble defending some slightly worse position he knows reasonably well against Adiban, because
But
I
if
think
he knows his
Adiban's-
line reasonably well, why doesn't he choose a line where he's not 0-50 down? That narrative I'm always confused by.
Yeah, I think it's hard to argue against the numbers there.
Anyway, Adiban decided to choose to keep the pieces, the queens on the board. Still like his position somewhat. Bring the horsey. What's not to like?
Yeah, it is a very pleasant position for white, of course.
Queen
And
c6.
yeah.
Push this. I'm not sure if you
Yeah, you
have
could
to.
definitely consider playing a5 here, or
Yeah, their standard thing would be f3,
yeah,
e4.
Probably not
sure.
right now,
Yeah.
because knight h5 might be a bit annoying, or
Yeah.
knight d5.
Yeah, maybe it's not the end of the world. As said, I think he's supposed to take on d8, but somewhat surprising. I'm curious when they will have exhausted all the lines in this e3, knight bd7. If the whole world plays this every game now, at some point we'll be done with it.
Yeah, this is a line I used to play 25-ish years ago as black, and not really enjoy very much, but it still survives in some fashion, which is a testament to its longevity. I don't know about this e5 move that Olga Gira played on the previous move. This may have been a bit of a miscalculation. Up to here, it's all perfectly reasonable. It's maybe not the most ambitious reply to knight h5, knight f4, but it's definitely possible. But just play b3 and...
Hang on, I know the stuff. Ah, yeah, knight c6. Yeah, that's a little meek. Little meek mill. Rook ft1 or rook f2 or the main moves.
Yeah, I used to play queen d2 f5 more than this, but it's I think knight f4 is the way to go. f5 is probably just flat
that's
out incorrect.
Very shaky. Yep.
Yep. But after knight f4, yeah, rook f1, white is non-spectacularly but very solidly better. But anyway, there's a very nice tactic after e5, queen h4, which I think maybe Olga spotted only after the fact, that if she takes on d6 here, black can go rook e1, rook e1, rook b2. Or maybe even the
Ouch.
immediate rook b2. Probably the immediate rook b2, because rook e1, queen e1 would be much stronger to avoid this. So we start with rook b2 here, and that might hurt. Seeing as that's just mate. And after some thought, she ended up playing b3, because queen takes c4 was also a little bit of a problem she had to address. And now black just takes on e5, and white will have some compensation for it, but it's a pawn.
It's a pawn. Yeah, e5 was not great. And let's go back to our match of the round. Ding Liren with the black pieces putting pressure on the American board one, Hikaru Nakamura, who, yeah, in Rapid, it's very hard to argue with Hikaru being board one. He finished second in the Magnus Invitational. He's the highest rated in Rapid, and so on and so forth. Although Karana is probably closing the gap a little bit. 92.
Yeah, it's not such an easy position to convert into a full point, but I think in computer games, black probably wins this more than he doesn't.
Yep. Still looks fun. At least the bishop, got something to do now.
Yeah, and I actually quite like Hou's reaction after h4 g5 and move 22. He thought for a bit and took f takes g6, a move I kind of ignore, specifically to have g4 g5 and to give that bishop at least some things to look forward to.
Smart.
Yeah, now you can actually imagine some outlier scenarios where white could even be better. Let's say in the current position, if you somehow allow white to go rook h1 and then h5 in some kind of a favorable scenario. and the g-pawn might start running. But obviously, it's going to be extremely difficult to get that to happen.
Yep. How's Yu Yang doing? I don't understand these Petrovs, but Yu Yang has played them so much. Sometimes he loses. So usually he doesn't.
Yeah, and sometimes he wins. He beat Anish Giri.
Yeah, but Anish
in this tournament.
But in particular, this structure is very hard for me to understand. Someone beat him here with white, no, and something similar. Sorry for being non-specific. They all, merge in my head.
Yeah, but I think it's very smart that he opted for this specific setup with the pawn on b6 and the bishop on c5, because by not taking on e3 and keeping this shape, if we can describe it this way, he makes sure that the rook doesn't reach the b4 square. And if white does not have rook b4 as an option, it's actually a bit on the queen on h4 is actually quite hard to smoke out. And that queen is very useful for black in that it stops white's potential expansion plans on the king side. Let's say if you, in this position, if you, let's say, play queen e7 with black and white replies with queen g3, you instantly have to start thinking about f4, f5 plans and bishop h6 plans and so on. But with the queen on h4, the queen on f3 is kind of hamstrung. And it's very difficult to figure out how to get your normal kingside play started here.
Right. Sorry, I'm busy negotiating with the chat. Some are missing Lawrence, some are saying Lawrence is there to sell Chess24 pre-memberships, which to some extent is true. I think he's excellent at reading them ads. Well, I'm very, very awkward about it. But if your Lawrence hatred is too strong, if your dislike for Lawrence is so strong that you do not want to see him on the show, then go premium. It's the only way.
Absolutely. I
Chess24.com/premium.
And yeah, Hou Yifan, there's something really strange happened in that game. Although, I mean, this is a lot more fun to look at. This is an absolute mess of a position.
Let's briefly have a look at this match. This is Europe versus the rest of the world. Maxim Vashela-Graf is board 1 for Europe. Rajabov representing rest of the world. I heard some chatter, by the way, that Rajabov was originally supposed to be on the Europe team and then switched to the rest of the world. How do these things work?
I have no idea. I really have absolutely no insight on that. And Timur, as the current World Cup winner, should be playing for some team in this event for sure. But which one? I have no idea how they ended up establishing that. And
so
yeah, this
is
the
line. Oh, this is a line I used to know. Just a line that I used.
Yeah,
I shouldn't sing.
The Moscow, the Moscow that I used to know.
Yeah, is this what? Who's playing these things? Knight takes d5. In the old days, it was always a move we were sort of scared of, and then we were thinking, but we have 8 healthy pawns. They only have 7. This can't be right. But I think modern engines, they kind of enjoy this knight takes d5 move.
Monsieur Gozoli played this against me in our Banter Blitz match, and I was completely lost by move 20, just utterly dead. I ended up somehow winning that game, but it's an interesting idea. It looks really strange because your counterplay is based entirely on the fact that you very quickly land the bishop on h5, making it very uncomfortable for black to castle anywhere, and then you start opening the f-file. And amazingly, it's just very difficult for black to do something quick enough to make that simplistic plan less potent.
I like it. Take 91, checkmate. Pawn on g5, never moves back. And Rajabov also a very serious theoretician, as we've talked about plenty yesterday. He played the first line in this knight bd7, queen's gambit declined for the first 25 moves, still went down after a complex exchange sacrifice, but he's well prepared. While Maxime, as we've talked about as well, he might be somewhat more, experimenting, getting a feel for these different semi-Slav positions. Then again, of course, he is capable of doing homework, and he might have checked this deeply as well. I do not know what's happening.
Yeah, neither do I. I just enjoy. I do have the chat open, and our moderators are currently bullying me in a very adorable fashion.
They're bullying you? I thought it was just the usual Lawrence bullying in the chat. What's happening?
No, but then
how did they turn on you?
Then I mentioned that I won a lost position, and there was some incredulous burbling from the mod community on that topic. But I fully endorse everything that's being said.
Are you a part of the mod community, like Martin Freeman?
I wish. I wish. I do like Martin Freeman, though.
Yeah. By far the best part of Black Panther. That's a joke.
Crossing some lines there, Jan.
That's a joke. I am a big Black Panther fan.
Anish is a full... No, rook c2 is the... I was wondering if Anish was just an exchange up here, but Dr. Bassem finds this nice intermediate move with rook c2, intending, I guess, knight before rook d2. This got very sharp from a position which normally doesn't get...
Anish!
Very
What's
tactical.
this mess you found yourself in? Bassem does not really play cutthroat theory usually. No, he's more of a system player is the wrong word, but he enjoys his knight f3, g3, slow build-ups. And then, when the going gets tough, he does get going, but he does not want an early confrontation.
Yeah, looks actually kind of promising for White. Black might want to just cut his losses and perhaps go knight f5 in some way to pick up the bishop on e3 and then probably hold the position a pawn down.
All right. Oh, this endgame. I never win this endgame with white. This is... Oh, yeah, it is this line.
Yeah.
Black seems very solid to me here.
Yeah, it's normally very, very difficult to get anything going for either side. My one experience with this endgame is I actually won it with black once, which surprised even myself. But yeah, under normal circumstances, white has some pressure, but I think black, if they know what they're doing, should be fine.
All right, back to China, USA. Have you been to China? You must have been to China plenty.
Yeah, I've been to China a bit. I got some invites to play in the round robins, and I also played that Rapid and Blitz match against Yuangi. That was, I think, in 2018. I think that was my last visit.
I would guess that's still more current than most people's last China visit, 2018.
Probably true, yeah. Plenty of very interesting chess events, and a country unlike many others, let's put it like this. Always a bit of an eye-opener when you get to visit China.
I'm not a big expert. I love Shanghai, but I'm not sure it's representative for the country. It just felt like New York on steroids. So much stuff happening, so many giant buildings next to each other. But I had a great time. I loved Shanghai. And I went to Nanjing with Leiko in the old days, but there we were mainly just hanging out in some very nice resort outside the city and, going for walks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same one I played in whatever year that was. I think maybe 08 or 09. The one time I played in Nanjing.
Were you there when I was there? 09 I was there? I have zero recollection.
I don't
Carlsen
think
scored
so.
like 8.5 out of 10 or something bizarre.
No, the year I was there, Magnus didn't play.
Right.
No.
What are we
The year
talking
I was
about?
there, that doesn't matter. Yeah, and US-China match. Yeah, Hikaru is actually doing a very good job of defending this, I feel. He's gone bishop a8 here, which is quite clever. Bishop takes a6, knight e4 would have been scary. The bishop a8 keeping the e4 square under control is a clever move here, I feel, by Hikaru. And if he gets to pick up on a6, he is just completely fine. And it's not that easy to defend it without sort of deactivating some of your pieces.
I'm being told I've been mispronouncing Basem by saying Basem, and it's Basem. Thank you.
Okay.
Hikaru is hanging in there. I would never mispronounce Nakamura. I've watched every episode of Terrace House, so I'm very, very good at Japanese surnames.
Yeah, and now after 94 and FE in that game, I think Hikaru more or less never loses, which I think is a very good outcome.
Safe.
Yeah, it's a very good outcome considering how dubious his treatment of that line was to begin with.
Caruana I could slightly mispronounce, but I do think that I would beat Yasasai Ravan. Shout out in a Caruana pronunciation contest. Is he winning though?
Probably not. I think White just stabilized to such a degree that nobody is better. And like if somebody is better, I think it's some kind of an h5, gh, bishop f5, and g6 plan could potentially give White some hope. But all in all, I think it's more playing to lose rather than playing to win. So I expect some shuffling around and then draw being agreed.
Gotcha. Linier Dominguez against Yu Yang. Looks like Linier has a little pressure, but it's a Petrov. I still don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised by Queen e7, but I guess he didn't like to allow Queen c5. Now
I'm being told I mispronounced Saravan in the meantime. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Don't think I did though.
Yeah, it sounded fine to me, but what do I know?
What do you know?
Yes, yeah, Peter Svidlers. Do they know things?
Is it even Peter?
Yeah, it's not. Clearly, it's not. Yeah, like on the topic of mispronouncing first names. Yeah, we've been leaving this lie that I'm called Peter.
What do Russians call you? Do they call you Petr or Pyotr? Of course, they call you Petya or whatever.
Yeah. Pyotr is kind of official, and yeah, Petya. Mm-hmm. Mainly, they just call me like you. You come here.
Yeah, it's the same for Yu Yang.
Exactly. Yeah. Is it the same for Yu Yang, or is it slightly better for Linier here?
I like White's position.
Yeah, but it's just so difficult to make any kind of progress.
Ariton 8 is saying, why does Jan often say the Rui Lopez and Dominguez? Is that how it's supposed to be? Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
And in the meantime, Hou Yifan appears to just be completely winning now. So let's just touch on this for a second. Black after knight a5 went for some really, really dubious sacrificial play. I don't think it was necessary in any way. I think after knight a5, something like rook e7 or queen e7 or, well, something protecting the b7 pawn must have been playable. But instead, Irina went for d5, and then after e5, followed by knight takes b7. White just picked up an exchange, quite simply. And in the current position,
not particularly complex.
Yeah, and the game continued like you see on your screens. Knight c8, rook c8, f4. If bishop takes c3, I'm pretty sure the point is rook c3, bishop d4. With a very, although rook takes g3, probably you still pick this. But this is not going to solve black's issues. And after bishop b8,
maybe just BC.
Maybe just BC. Yeah,
this is a better version.
Yeah, absolutely. And after bishop b8, Hou Yifan found what looks like a final tactical blow here. Knight, bishop b6, knight b6, knight d5. You have to take with the pawn. And then white takes on c8, gives a check, takes on c8 with the queen. The bishop is hanging, and also there's a threat of queen c3. So yeah, I don't expect this game to last for
knight d5
much longer.
This is it. Ugh, I'm in the next pronunciation debate here. People are saying Dominguez is not Dominguez, but Dominguez. I guess it depends where you're from. In Spain, in most areas, it's certainly Dominguez. It could be that Linier in Cuba, I do not know that. It could be that they don't go for the sound there, but he pronounced it Dominguez. That I do not know. In Spain, where it's a very common surname, there it's certainly Dominguez.
Yeah. And also, Bidle, as I've learned to my...
What's that?
Bidle. That's my name. Say my name.
Es Svidler.
No. That's for like some other regions. But the one place in Spain where I played reasonably consistently in my life is Linares. And in Linares, it's definitely Bidle.
Yeah, that's if they don't make an effort to say the S. But if they try, then it's Es Svidler.
Yeah, but they don't. They just generally don't make any effort at all. So
that's what you say.
Bidle I am.
I'm being told it's not Jan, it's Jan. Yeah. Jan is a girl's name in the US, no?
Why?
Jan? I often hear that. It's even spelled Jan. All right. How's our coverage of the China-US match going?
I think splendidly.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would ever dare to complain.
You guys miss a beat. Hikaru saved his position on board 1 after being a pawn down. Irina Krush is lost against Hou Yifan, so it's pretty much 1/2 China. And then it depends. Can Fabiano Caruana win against Wang Hao with the black pieces? Can Linier Dominguez or Dominguez make something happen? Those are the questions.
Yeah, those are the burning questions of the day. Also, it feels slightly unfair that there's two people trying to beat Yuangi here with white.
Ooh. How do you save your things? You take?
Yeah, but
can I take?
Yeah, rook f5, rook g6, you might just get mated. Yeah,
Queen g6, king e2, you still run away.
Yeah, but then you like knight c2, knight e3. That's not gonna be much fun. Yeah.
I have to admit, as I'm sure you guys did as well, I had a peek at just the engine bar here, which looked very blackish.
A bit blackish. Yeah.
Implies that Caruana is completely winning. So I'm trying to figure out how exactly.
But yeah, as I mentioned, the h5 g6 break, even before it happened, I thought was, more in a let's lose a position tradition rather than let's try and win a position tradition.
Yeah. But as we all know, Caruana always plays to win. Queen g6, queen h2. No.
Yeah, knight takes c2 is a nice inclusion, even without queen g4 check, king f2. Obviously, white cannot take because queen g3, queen h2 would be mate in 3.
Obviously.
Or that, yeah, that's stylish. More stylish, I think, than mine. So the rook has to go somewhere. Yeah, the knight lands on e3, and then bad things happen.
Ooh. So Fabi keeps the US in there. That would mean it's 1.5, assuming that Hou Yifan wins this pretty winning position. And Fabi wins his. That would lead us to the decision on board number 3. Dominguez against Yu Yang. Can I give you the controls for a second? Because I need my coffee.
Sure. So yeah, there's been...
I don't want people to see my sweatpants. Maybe I'll just crawl under the table so they can't see them when I go.
There's been a change in structure in the game between the Dominguez versus Yu Yang. And it feels like White now that somehow he got, roped into taking on b6. White is the one who needs to be a little bit careful here. I'm a bit worried about maybe even b5, a5, b4, and just getting our majority rolling in the king in the center. But Yu Yang instead opts for something which is a little bit more conservative, but could also be quite strong. Rook d8 with the intention of playing d5, d4, but also the pawn on a4 is not a passer, as it would have been in my line after b5 and b4. Obviously, giving White an outside passer is very double-edged. If your play in the center backfires, you will regret it dearly. The thing about that, the Yu Yang plan of pushing for d4 here is that d4 doesn't actually create such a huge threat, but it's probably a bit awkward for White to play, because like the big question for me would be, where does the queen go after d4? He plays bishop g2. I assume Black plays d4 straight away, and now there are rather unfortunate questions to answer here for White. I guess we can start by looking at something like queen d2. Who are we calling Plonker there? I'm always very interested in people being called Plonker on my watch. That's not really my watch, but let's pretend. And now Black has the option of playing d3 if he wants. You could also throw in queen c7, asking to White how he's planning to defend on e5. But I guess if the a4 pawn is not hanging anymore, we can definitely start by just going rook e1 and saying, please continue. Yeah. In the meantime, just briefly an update on the Fabi game. Bad things did happen. That's actually a very nice and concise way to finish the game here for Fabi. After knight takes c2, the rook went to h1, and Fabi gave a check, and just instead of logically continuing with the knight e3 plan, he just returned the knight on b4, and there's absolutely no good way for White to defend the pawn on d3, because queen h3, just as it was true on the previous move, would run into a small sacrifice which deflects the queen from protecting the g-file, and then queen g2, queen takes h1, and the rook comes in. So, yeah, Fabi won, Hou Yifan won, the Hikaru-Ding Liren game had been drawn, and everything now hinges on whether a Linear can save what I think by this point is quite obviously a very unpleasant position for him. Black can start, for instance, by playing c4, c3 right now, probably forcing White to take on b6. We take, queen goes to d3, let's say. And if we somehow, with the black pieces, if Black actually manages to shift this blockade, I don't know, let's say if Black goes g6 and gets to play bishop f5 and then d4, d3, he will be close to winning, but of course White will have something to say about that. And Jan is back.
What's happening?
Saved,
Fabi won?
Fabi did win, yeah, very convincingly. And yeah, you have to wonder, in particular with Hou Yifan doing so well on the women's board, why you would need to do anything at all here with White. Just continue shuffling. Is there an actual plan here that Black can go for? I mean, you could play something like maybe knight a6 and start threatening queen b6, queen b2. Maybe it's not that fun anyway, but Yeah, maybe it's just not fun. Maybe this position was more venomous than we originally assumed.
It's not as much fun as the position that Hou Yifan has.
Yeah, this one is still going on, but it's a team event. Otherwise, I think just calling it quits somewhere around here with the white pieces is not a mistake. And yeah, Yuengi showed a much better solution than the one I was advocating. Instead of the very stupid c3, he took on a5 on move whatever it was, 28. Using the fact, which I should have gotten on, to that rook a5 c3 just loses a rook. So this more or less forces white to trade queens in such a way that black instantly generates a very, very strong passer on either either the c file or the d file. And d3 cd, he's actually, I'm pretty sure he is considering playing c3 here.
Why? Rook c5?
Rook c8, I think, wins on the spot, right? Rook c5. Ah, no, there's bishop c6, but it probably loses anyway because I have bishop d7.
Can pin.
Yeah. So c3
nice.
is very scary. I think you have to go rook a1 and hope that this holds somehow, but I don't think it does actually. Like c2, no, he went cd3, but I think this one maybe was winning. c2, rook c1, rook d3 appears to be very strong, but maybe this is also winning. Maybe you just don't need to. Bishop f3, I think we go d2. Bishop d1, rook c8 should be more or less instantly lost. Or even rook b8. Rook b8 might be a bit more precise. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. And d2, rook a1, there has to be a way to make progress there for black. But I think c3 was definitely a legitimate choice there for black as well.
Peter is saying, nice Marimekko Unico mug, Jan. Yeah, I just checked. I have no idea what that is, but it does say Marimekko on this mug. So thank you.
Yeah, don't know what that is either.
Juan GM is asking, just curious, in which city are Chess24 servers located? I'm not sure what that means. Chess24 is all over the place. We have offices in Gibraltar, in Hamburg. There's a server room next to where the IT is located in Hamburg. I think there's a server room in Gibraltar as well, but I'm not quite sure if one has like one server thing. So I don't know. MVL just missed a win, I'm reading. Let's switch matches, because in this one, if I understood correctly, it looks like USA are now fighting for the 2-2, but unlikely to get it, no?
Yeah, I don't think this is great. And MVL, yeah, he missed a very beautiful tactical shot there, but I think it's possible to miss it on very, very low time.
Right. And Peter is saying it's a Finnish fashion brand. Zlatan is here saying AWS. Yeah, AWS, we certainly have a lot. That's why I'm not sure about if physical servers play a big role. So where's Maxim?
The Moscow. Yeah, instead of rook gd8 here, there's a very beautiful win here with rook df7, intending to take on e5 next move. I'm sure he rejected it because of rook f7, rook b7. Rook 1 f7 and then rook b7. And I guess the point is, in that position you go knight takes h7, which is, I think, something you can definitely miss.
Wow, that is some sick overloading.
Yeah, queen g8, king b7, queen h8, queen h7, I guess king a6 or something, and then we pick up the pawn on d4 and of course win very comfortably. Oh, no, knight b4 I missed, but maybe it doesn't do anything. Who knows? I just flat out missed that.
Well, in case it does, probably bishop c7 is good enough.
Yeah, bishop c7, e5 probably is, a safe victory anyway. But yeah, I think missing knight takes h7 in that position is very understandable. And now, amazingly, this is one of those Moscow positions where your first reaction probably is, I'm a piece up. How am I not completely winning? Because even the threats are still sort of quiet moves. White isn't really threatening to give a check or anything, but because of that mention in chat, I kind of broke my resolution a little bit and looked at our website, and this is an unclear position. Black probably is slightly favored, but he has to play very precise to even have any advantage at all.
The usual. Now that even you started this engine cheating, who can I trust? I might have to start juicing as well. Vishy Anand, the final position was mate in 4. Queen d7, f6. That was the weirdest of games. But Vishy, I read, he said that this was an idea that he's been holding for a while.
Yeah, that's a very large fish to catch with this. And honestly, maybe among the top players, the only fish you can catch. And I don't mean the way the game played out, but I think of the top players, Jan is the only one who consistently goes for bishop g7, knight takes e3, and c5. So
Don't know.
In some ways, it's sort of specifically designed to beat Jan.
I know about these schemes. And Dominguez isn't he just lost? Can I go bishop b3?
Yeah, that looks very strong. Hang on, king g2?
I want rook
Still
c1,
alive.
but rook a8 is not.
Yeah, still alive. Maybe, oh no, it's the same. Bishop b2, king g2 is exactly the same.
And bishop d5.
King f1. I think
that's
they
what they
had
just
this.
said, yeah?
Well, it was only 6, but it's very similar. Hang on. No, but then maybe this is kind of the point. Yeah, bishop
Well, then I
d5,
win.
king f1, bishop
Yeah.
f3. But we will. No, d1 is. Yeah, that probably wins.
Or are
Right?
we talking about rook c1? No?
Sorry. Yeah, now there is no check on a8. Yeah, apologies. Rook a5, maybe then? Because what else can we do? Yeah, that's what Linear played. But yeah, now that the rook has been displaced, something like bishop b4 should just win, right?
This looks game over, no? Rook
Yeah,
a4,
bishop b4.
bishop c2 or whatnot.
Yeah, rook a2, rook c1 wins the bishop, and king f1 we should be able to, I guess bishop d3
figure
check, and then
something
rook
out,
c1, yeah. So China wins, despite how committing a bit of a Subaru.
Yeah. The match is over. Bishop e4 was the last move. Linear Dominguez resigns. Yeah, that's a tough one for him to lose with the white pieces, and that means Yu Yangyi scores 2 out of 2 with the Petrov now. Doing well for China, who continue cruising in this event. Of course, it helps them.
Yeah, China.
They're
What's
very
the
strong
formula
on the
exactly? Is
sport.
it a double round robin or?
I think it's a double round robin and then a single final.
Hang on a second. People are saying that the final position is equal.
What? Where one? In the Dominguez game?
King f1, bishop d3 check, king g2, rook c1, rook a8, rook d8.
Oh,
I think, yeah, that probably
so he
is.
resigned a little prematurely.
Yeah, he was completely lost one move ago. Instead of bishop d5, bishop b3 was winning somehow. Yeah, that's actually he should have spotted that. Bishop b3, king g2, and now bishop d5 check, and then rook c1. This is completely winning. Yeah, but bishop d5 already is a mistake,
Wow.
and rook a5, bishop b4 is just dead equal.
Wow, that's even more painful. I
So
mean, you don't notice. You think, okay, I was probably lost in here. I had to resign. But when he's told, or when he checks his engine in the next 50 seconds, that's gonna sting. Because we didn't see it either. But once you think about it, it's a fairly straightforward defense, frankly. You just assume you're lost, yeah?
yeah, I think he's kind of mentally checked out, assuming this never survives. And
Sorry, I'm putting it on the board now. So king g2, rook c1 is what we thought was winning, but here rook a8 check, king h7, rook d8, and we're back in business. Bishop e4, I guess f3, yeah?
F3, yeah. You do need to see all of
kind
this,
of
but
relevant.
once you just kind of decide to continue making moves, I think you make all of these moves quite comfortably, because none of them separately are very difficult.
Yeah, and instead, as Peter mentioned, bishop b3, king g2, and now bishop d5 was the way to spin it around. And here it is indeed game over. Why exactly? Rook a5? We just go somewhere. Bishop c6. Yeah. This should do the trick. So tough day at the office for Linier. China wins, and people are saying go to Alireza versus Levon, which, yeah, sounds like a fun game to begin with. Currently, Levon Aronian, pawn up in a rook ending. Let's back up a little, see what happened. They've been in this squeeze mode.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised the light pieces disappeared, because I suspect white is better off keeping them.
Standard theory would be knight versus bishop. You keep the knight, and you're a big favorite to win the 4 versus 3 eventually.
Yeah, I'm very surprised by knight d4 here, to be honest, in particular from Lev, because he's had a ton of experience on all sides of these things. But having said all that, the d file extra pawn does win occasionally, and the most famous one probably is the one that I was there for. I think I played in that tournament when Magnus lost with colors reversed, the position quite like that to Van Hou.
Yeah, especially with short time control. I feel these things are way more often won than they are drawn, even if they're drawn with best play. Yeah. We'll see if Alireza hangs in there.
Also, Lev keeps the clock very much under control here, which is smart.
So we have 2 games still going. One is Bassem Amin against Anish Giri.
Yeah, Bassem is winning, I would assume. Yeah, it's just these positions normally don't hold for black.
Girinho, get it together. And we have Levon Aronian against Alireza. Let me look at the results, and please.
Yeah, generally what's happening in the Europe rest of the world. Nana Zagnidze has beaten Dinara Sadvakasova. So Europe is +1, but if Anish loses, which he appears to now be almost a cert to lose, this match will depend on the rook endgame. With scores level.
Crunchy Move is asking, how do you think the US team will react to Dominguez's premature resignation? I think there won't be a big fuss made about it. You get on with your life. Like, I don't think anybody will.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to be happy about it, but I think the person who will be the least happy about it will be Linier himself.
Sure, yeah, he won't be happy, but the colleagues, so happens.
Yeah, there's not going to be any retribution, but Linier will be extremely upset, of course, because he is a very responsible human being. Likes, I mean, I've played on the same club with him for a number of years. He's been one of the legionnaires hired by the Bojack Horseman club, and yeah, he's a pleasure to play alongside. He is very responsible. Takes a lot of pride in doing well for any team he plays for. He will not like this.
Zlatan is here saying we should have gone with Jordan over Anish as shown in Anish's prep match. Nah. Anish is strong. He will find a way to hang in here. Even though
after bishop
if the bishop goes somewhere.
Yeah, specifically to e3 to stop that. So, I mean, d4 also works, though. D4 is also pretty good, because bishop e5, bishop takes a1 would be...
Random question. Okay, this didn't even happen. Bishop e3, he resigns. But bishop takes c7, we also win, right? Obviously, you don't do this, just out of curiosity.
I think 3 against 3 is difficult. I mean, there was this famous game...
With 2 bishops here, don't you just win?
Carlsen Karyakin, no? One of the tie breaks was
Yeah,
exactly that.
He was
wasn't it?
winning, but he did not.
I don't think he was winning from the
two.
start. I think he was winning after Sergei played it. And yeah, you never ever do this. And honestly, I'm not even entirely sure it's mathematically winning, depending on where the pawns are. Probably is like you in a practical game. You probably expect the bishops to be able to do it somehow, but it's like it's an interesting hypothetical. But yeah, don't do that, kids. If you have any other choice, don't do that.
Alpha Star wants to know, pineapple on pizza, yay or nay? No, you do not put pineapple on your pizza. In Germany, we call it pizza Hawaii. It's wrong, and I have very little patience for it. Also, if you like your peanut butter smooth and not crunchy, we cannot be friends.
And
I'm very tolerant when it comes to food, but those two things you just don't mess with.
Yeah, I don't act like Hawaii is not my favorite pizza, but I don't understand what all the fuss is about. If you want to have pineapple on pizza, have pineapple on pizza.
No,
but
no.
On the topic of misclicks, there was an actual misclick which actually saved the match for Russia in their match against India.
More misclicks?
No, but that I'm pretty sure is an actual misclick.
Which one?
If you in the Artemiev Hare Krishna game, yeah,
RD.
Last two ply of this game.
King d3, knight d2, king takes c2.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert, but knight d2 looks wrong to me.
Yeah, I don't think this is what Harry intended. 91 check is just immediately a draw. Pretty sure that's what he was trying to
So
play.
once you move the knight, yeah. That's a tough one, yeah.
Yeah, and that actually changed a first win, I think, a first team win for Team India into a draw. Yeah, another player who will not be happy with how his game ended.
Julio Sherby is saying, Jan, just stick to Wurstel and Kartoffeln. Come on, if you want to food shame Germans, at least try to get close to what the words you're trying to say. That's just weak, Julio. Do some research.
What?
I'm criticizing Wurstel.
No, I understand.
And
I was trying to figure out what was wrong with. It's Kartoffeln, right? There's an L missing.
There is an L missing. And Wurstel, it's not even close to being a word. He means Wurst, which in French means saucisson, which Laurent always gets very happy when I bring up that topic. Laurent and MVL, they're very happy about the saucisson Wurst comparisons. So 92, that's a tough one for Hare Krishna.
Yeah, like if you play 91 check, all the rest of your decisions are now very, very simple. If white goes king e4, you have rook f2, and you're not even worse. And you basically continue giving those checks with the knight until either this perpetual happens, like king e3, knight g2, king d3, knight e1, or until white allows rook f2, after which it's a game for 3 results.
Laurent's in the chat, he's saying Wurst has nothing to do with saucisson, and he finds it very annoying that I brought this up. Apologies, Laurent, I didn't know.
Clearly. As evidenced by what you just said 25 seconds ago.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
And chat talking about German food. How could this possibly go wrong?
Yeah, and Podino 7 with the correct take that he took the L from Kartoffeln and he put it at the end of Wurstel. So it's just a Portmanteau award. Mm-hmm. It's a wombo combo.
All right.
How did the endgame go?
2-2 against Russia.
Did Lev win?
Against rest of the world. Did Levon win? Where is Levon?
It's still going on, so we should probably actually watch that.
I don't know. Some other topics to be debated. Rook to g1. Ali Reza is trying to hang in there.
Yeah, looks bad, but just saying this looks bad is kind of unproductive because either white has a winning plan against rook g4 or he doesn't. But I guess rook g4 we just play king e5. So a waiting move of some sort here might be. But then black plays rook g2. I'm still not sure if white is actually winning here. a lot of progress has been made, but yeah, king g7, rook g4, rook f6 maybe is winning, yeah, or something. But it's a difficult decision to take on very, very short time. Yeah, now rook h1, and we start the race, yeah. Probably winning, but I think it's very difficult to actually go for this with white. Let's say we go d6 here. And if the h-pawn starts running, we actually chase it with the king and pick it up, or at least we force black into some kind of weird situations. But yeah, I don't trust my rook endgames enough to pronounce any kind of a verdict here.
It's all right. You can always apologize later.
Nothing can take this away from me.
There you go. So what are we discussing? What's Pom in German? Kartoffeln. Even, you know, if you mean pommes frites, we say pommes frites for French fries, which is weird too. Basically, let's admit it. There's not a lot of food
Junior?
culture in Germany. No one really eats Kartoffeln and Sauerkraut, contrary to popular belief. Würstchen and beer, I guess sausages are more popular than in other countries, but they're not part of the regular cuisine. You have some fast food restaurants, places where you can get sausages, but I'm assuming you can get those in other places too. Frankly, in Germany, it's much easier to get a Döner kebab than a currywurst. So, I don't know. I don't think there's any big German food. Peter, you've been here a lot. Is there any German food that stands out? Not really, right? Apfelschorle. It's more the weird drink.
Yeah.
That's a mix. Apfelschorle.
Zwei grosse Apfelschorle for sure. But no, I mean like Schweinsachse. I'm mispronouncing those.
Schweinsachse, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never had Schweinsachse in my life.
Not once in your life?
German thing. I don't think so. No.
Whoa. Even I had Schweinsachse.
But I don't eat a lot of pork for no particular reasons, but yeah. I'm not sure. I guess that's German.
Yeah.
Spätzle, that's southern German.
You know, of us two, you being the one that doesn't eat any pork is a little bit funny, but maybe not that funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
Seemed funny to me. Yeah, and Alireza, I thought d6 now just wins.
This does not win, yeah?
This does not win.
Not even close.
But after d6, I thought I found some like d6. I think we go rook d4, king h5, king f5. Because my initial reaction was this is clever by Alireza, but d6.
Sorry, d6, rook g4?
No, rook d4.
Ah, gotcha.
King h5, and we are just in time to play king f5 here. And yeah, I think this might be at the very least tricky to convert.
d6, rook d4 is on the board.
And potentially maybe even just a draw.
Joy Hope Scott wants to know, did Linier resign in drawn position? Yeah, he did. And, well, there were some mysterious things going on. The probably most mysterious was Jan Nepomniachtchi going down in very, very quickly, just being checkmated by Vishy. There was some talk about misclicks, but we couldn't figure it out because this was also just dead loss. So I think he just got caught in Vishy's homework. Vishy Anand scoring a nice win. Then the Hare Krishna thing was as shocking, but bad news for the Indians in that game, because Hare Krishna, in what looked like an equal end game, yeah, mouse slipped, did not go 91, instead went 92. And in the Dominguez game, this is in the match China-USA, Linier Dominguez resigned here, which we thought was a fair decision because there's no way you can defend against rook c1 or bishop c2. But it turns out, if you go king f1, bishop d3, king g2, rook c1, which we thought was winning, you have this defense, rook a8, king h7, rook d8. There's no win for black, so he did resign in a drawn position.
Yeah, and as somebody obviously did not hesitate to mention in chat, Linier did a Svidler. Mm-hmm. Indeed, he has. there's a suggestion that Lev misplayed that endgame. Has it finished? Are we? We keep on kind of going away from it. If it's still going on.
I was just doing a little recap. They're still playing.
Yeah, this looks like it now might. Hang on, rook f6. How did this go? He just went for.
He gave the pawn.
He gave the pawn back. Rook a4, rook h6, king g5. This might now be a draw.
G5.
I'm a bit surprised by king g5. Why not? Yeah.
Centralize would be my first instinct, but my rook ending prowess is well known.
But actually, king e5, king f7, I also don't see a draw. So maybe there's just no draw. Maybe it's not a good position in general. Rook e6, and now the king will start crawling back.
Yeah, this horizontal cut-offs are very tough to deal with, aren't they?
Okay, so hang on. Yeah, these are the ones where I don't feel as much shame asking. Yeah, rook h. Apparently, you had to keep the rook on the. This is clever.
This was a draw according to Laurent.
Yeah.
Laurent knows.
This is clever. Just keep the rook on the h file to have rook h7 check after king f7. And then we trade and we go king e6.
So we need to fight against this construction. The rook key. Yeah, okay, not easy to spot.
Yeah, and after king f5, instead of king h6, which is a draw, rook g5 check or rook h6, all apparently win. So it was a very big mistake followed by a very big mistake back. But not really that shocking. It's a tricky endgame. It's not an endgame which you will find in any book as such. And I assume Lev by this point also was down to very, very few seconds on the clock. But notably, after losing, after a very painful loss in round 1 against Artemiev, I think Lev won all the games he's played since, right? Maybe one draw. Yeah, I think
he's won the last 2. I'm not quite sure how it looks.
Yeah, I think he's on 3 out of 4 now. No, he drew against Wei Yi and he won 3 in a row since. Yeah, lost to Artemiev, drew Wei Yi. Yeah, drew Wei Yi and won 3 in a row. So leading the charge quite convincingly for Europe.
Absolutely.
And Europe, because of that victory, ends up beating rest of the world. Standings.
Let me bring up them standings. Won't look pretty, but we will know who's on the lead. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's China. China ahead of the Europeans, the Russians, the Americans, India, and the rest of the world. So currently it looks like China is cruising towards that super final match. The top 2 teams play a match against each other, while the second spot, Europe, Russia, USA, all still very much in it. India and rest of the world seem somewhat outmatched thus far.
Thus far, yeah, and this is sorry. This is actually the conclusion of the first round. Now we will get all the same matches all over again, but with colors reversed. Starting in round 6 with Russia versus Europe, rest of the world playing China, and US playing the Indians. In a while, we probably have between 25 and 30 minutes before the round starts, if they stick to the official schedule, maybe slightly less.
Break time. So what do? We play clip, and then Peter, you want to play some Blitz games? We can.
Yeah, I don't mind playing some Blitz games at all. Yeah.
Then, if you want to play Peter and you're a Chess24 Premium member, you can challenge Paul Borta and get a lovely little game in against the 8-time Russian champion. If you're not a Chess24 Premium member, you can become one. And hopefully, watching this clip, which we shall play every day, mainly to annoy Peter, but also because it's a great clip, will convince you and get you into the mood. In the meantime, challenge Paul Borta on Chess24. We'll be right back with some lovely chess games. Thanks for watching. Of course, we'll be back for the second round of the day as well.
Question on Twitter from Damas. I should not have pronounced that. That was a bit of a trap, yeah?
For those of you who are new to chess, it might look like ba3 is an illegal move here, because white advances pawn 2 squares, not 1. But it's a little something we call en passant. And you can do that, but you have to do it instantly. You can't wait for a move, like let's say play king e7, king g2, and now try, because should I do it?
I'm sorry. This is too funny for words.
This is a software glitch? I'm pretty sure there's not a lot.
Lawrence. Hello, Lawrence. Yeah, I'll play 4 against Lawrence. And now he's going to play something against me which we discussed at length during the course of my stay. Yeah, he told me this is excellent. d5, this was what I was kind of hoping for, because now I think e5 is quite strong. No, Lawrence, this is not how chess works. Sadly, it would be much, much more fun if chess actually worked like this. But I don't think it does. Or maybe it does. Well, that's me regretting what I just said. How did I get from there to here is a little bit beyond me. And what's worse, I will never hear the end of it. My quality of life has just gone downhill tremendously because I'm actually sharing the office with the guy.
And we're back. This chessboard looks very small, but it's all we got. Challenge. 8-time Russian champion, 1-time Davis and Pepe Invitational winner, Peter Svidler, to a lovely Blitz game. Peter, what do you prefer, 3 minutes, 5 minutes?
I already have a reasonable amount of challenges, so let's start with this and see where it gets us.
Henry, can I make this board bigger? Probably I shouldn't.
Whoa. That was an unexpected angle shoot. Announcing yourself as a 1d4 player and then playing 2e4 is unfair. I want to say I've learned to play this from Magnus, but I don't know how true that would be. He's played this against me, I think, maybe even more than once in various competitions, but to claim that I learned something from those experiences would be maybe a bit overambitious. And it's very possible that I was supposed to meet a4 with a5, but didn't want to, so chose not to. These types of positions are, I think, normally very safely better for white, but on the other hand, you do get some potential for, you know, King's Indian adjacent counterplay on the king side, some kind of thing connected with f5. If your opponent plays b4, though, I think it's very normal to switch to playing in the center. It feels a bit like it's maybe a little bit of a liberty that my opponent is taking here. Bishop g5 is a move you can make here to kind of lessen the pressure on the center. Bishop b3 is also completely fine. Yeah, I'm not sure my disdain for the idea of playing b4 in this position is necessarily justified. I think this bishop is very often the absolute worst piece black has on the board, so I will try to trade it. I think knight d2 was stronger than this. Knight d2, queen takes e2. In this position, you go knight d2, queen takes e2, and okay, you don't actually see what I'm moving on the board when it's Jan following me. And here we have somehow won the exchange, which, I mean, yes, white will get some compensation, but I think not picking that exchange up would be... I should have played a 4 here. Not playing a 4 here is a bit criminal. Yeah, not picking that up would be a bit chicken. And now we will play a 4, of course, a 4 followed by a 3, and I should have done this on the previous move, but actually with the inclusion of rook c8 and c4, this is even stronger. White should have tried somehow avoiding this and not letting me do this. It appears to be just completely winning on the spot. And now queen g5 is a threat, and white just loses a lot of material here. All right, off to a good start here. And this is somebody I know quite well on a personal level, Grandmaster Vasilios Contronios. If that actually is... No, it's Vasilios, but not Contronios. I can't read. Apologies. Exclamation mark complain in chat. And 3 of 3. Fun times, but I'm going to decline the invitation to discuss the endless forced computer lines which arise after f3 d5. It's slightly alarming because I have a feeling my opponent actually knows this position much better than I do, but I played this once, and I mean, it's very, very risky for black, but not horrible exactly. It's not unplayable. I'm not sure about my opponent's approach here, because I think just allowing me to develop my pieces in such a natural fashion here is maybe not the most critical. Although, yeah, bishop d3 is very, very topical in all of these positions and sometimes leads to advantages for white. I think maybe this is what Levon played against me in one of the Grand Prix, but not 100% sure. I remember I was in a lot of trouble against Levon in this variation, I think in Zurich Grand Prix in 2017 probably, and then somehow swindled my way out of it and survived. Here, very importantly, I have to, if he goes knight e4, I have bishop d4 check and queen takes d5 in response, which is very relevant, because without it I would be in obviously a lot of trouble. Bishop e3 maybe is something white could consider doing here, intending to play bishop knight e4 next move, but stopping me from getting my bishop to d4.
Peter, something scary might be happening here.
Where?
In our Zoom call.
Whoa! Whoa! Unthinkable has happened.
This is a historic moment, ladies and gentlemen. In our Zoom call, there is a third participant. The call is coming from within the house. It says Mr. Daugherty. We do not know if Mr. Daugherty exists. Neither Peter or I have ever seen him or spoken to him, except for, random chat rooms. So I do not know what will happen next. I am not sure if he's on the line. But
yeah, these are scary times, because it's a little bit like meeting Bigfoot, and I mean Bigfoot with a G and not a K.
Silent. What happens if I click here? Peter disappears, and we see something there. I think he's afraid to say something. But did you see him? Can you see him, Peter? Because I can't, because I have to.
I'm
keep the
playing,
window
so
open.
I'm trying not to. You know,
Hello,
this is
ladies and gentlemen,
Wow.
dear viewers.
You're not
And he
on
starts-
screen, whoever you are.
Okay.
Is
starts
that-
with he starts with a tribute to the beloved Mr. Grishuk, which is very fitting.
This is all very scary. And I have a feeling Tech Yan is gonna ruin the one dodgy sighting we could have had.
Wow.
Still trying though. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a historic moment. Welcome, Mr. Dodgy, on the program.
Hello.
Do something to prove your identity. Say something that only Mr. Dodgy would know.
Yeah.
Um,
Shoe on head or pre-recorded, as is the well-established format here.
I've got nothing.
Wow.
I've got the cake.
Oh, you've got a cake.
Did you send us cake?
No, it's my cake.
Understandable. Still disappointing.
Yeah, still heartbreaking, but yeah, hard to argue with that logic.
It's Mrs. Dodgy's birthday today, so. I made
Wow,
her
happy
cake.
birthday, Mrs.
Yeah,
Dodgy. We question
happy
your
birthday.
existence too, but if you do exist, happy birthday.
She does exist.
But that's what you would say, right? I mean, if this
Yeah.
is all an elaborate prank of some sort, you would continue, you know, pushing for that story to be an accepted version of truth.
That's true.
Can you point
I've
the
got nothing.
camera outside so we can see if there's Swedish snow somewhere? Like that would be the
And
perfect
or
point.
horses. I'm very much in favor of seeing horses.
I don't think the camera will stretch. Also, the horses are not here. The horses are on
So
vacation.
the holes are beginning to appear in the charade. Is it charade or charade? Probably charade.
It's Shahadi.
Or maybe Sharon. Yeah.
Horses are on vacation until next month.
What
You
kind of
sound
life
more
is
English
that? Like,
than in writing.
I sound English?
Your accent sounds very English to me.
that's you don't know what you've just done, Jan. Or maybe you do and you're doing it on
I
purpose.
do.
I did live in England for a long time, so that might be fair.
Where are you from originally? We know you live in Sweden. What's
I'm
your
from
backstory?
Scotland.
From Scotland.
I'm from Dundee in Scotland, and I lived in England for 10 years, and now I live in Sweden.
Peter, are we buying that? Could you poke holes into that story?
I think this is generally what he's been trying to get across
It's consistent with the...
as his truth. Yeah.
Also, I can
speak your
pronounce
truth.
Skellefteå, not Skellefteå, as Peter said.
Did I say Skellefteå? No.
You did.
No. Jesus. I'm very like
It's called
no,
She
not,
Left
not
Him?
the
Yeah.
Skellefteå, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no shame in that. Even if she left, life very much goes on. That's the level.
That is very much the level here.
Peter, in the meantime, is playing exciting Blitz games on the big screen, ladies and gentlemen, which, thanks to Mr. Dodgy's tireless work, is now slightly bigger than it originally was. So, Mr. Dodgy, how old are you?
53. We've established that.
I'm 33 years old and 1 month.
33 and 1 month. It's hard to tell with the beard. I would say I look much younger than you, though. I'm 40, almost 41. Is that fair?
But yeah, that's definitely fair.
I agree.
Just a fact.
So, why is that? Is it your rough lifestyle? Is it the Swedish snow shipping that has caused this?
Yeah, I've had a hard life. That's mostly it.
Peter has had a very easy life, but he still complains a lot. What do you think about that?
I have had a very easy life.
You haven't?
That's news to me.
What have you worked one day in your life, Peter?
Yes.
Okay. When was that?
There was this very, very brief period in my life where I was actually stationed in the Chess 24 offices recording videos for the Grunfeld series.
I rest my case. Oh boy. You made it awkward, Mr. Dougherty. Normally there's never any awkwardness or mean words being spoken here, but you bring out the worst in me. I'm being mean to Peter. How can we get this show back on track now?
I thought that was it on track.
Yeah, I don't know if we're not buying that.
So how come that after all these years of me inviting you on the show and you coldly turning us down, that you decided to show up now? Is this just to promote your Twitter account @ChessProblem? What's the master plan here?
I'm a little
Planet
bit
3 is
drunk
kinda
right
strong
now,
here.
so
So this is the
this is the result of day drinking. Yeah, definitely.
okay. That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, that
I've been
does not surprise me. But were you saying you were sober all the times you turned me down?
Yeah,
Yeah,
check is
definitely.
actually-
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, it's fine. It took me a while to realize that after bishop takes e3, rook a d1, e3, I have rook takes d8, which is a check.
Yeah, focus on the chess, please.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, there's chess.
There is some chess.
Mr. Dougherty, you as an impartial observer, we often get the criticism, and by we, I mean I often get the criticism, that we don't talk enough chess on the show. How can we fix that?
I don't see a way.
Me
I
neither.
think the balances should be where it is.
And
it's perfect.
out here with a breaking news, which I feel we need to address, saying maybe Mr. Dougherty is just Lawrence with glasses, fake beard, and a wig.
No.
How can you prove this is not the case?
We've established that Mr. Dougherty is much younger than Lawrence, for starters.
We've established something of the sort, yes. Maybe not exactly that, but...
Lawrence is 34.
Is he?
Yeah.
No. No. He might be 2
Google
meters
it.
in height, but...
People in chat, help me out here. Cthulhu is saying 90% banter, 10% chess. No, I think it's more chess usually. I'm trying to get it there. But I do get the complaint, because I often listen to my nerdy stuff, and when they do stray away too far from the topic, I do get annoyed. So I'm not sure how to fix it.
Yeah, and in the meantime, I needed to do some modding, and then I realized I'm not actually a good mod, and I don't know how.
As this might be a historic moment, and I can't promise that will happen again. If you guys have a question for Mr. Dougherty, chess personality.
I see a good question. Mr. Dougherty, have you ever read a poker book? And the answer is no. I've never read a poker book. I would
Peter
admit
has so
that.
much
though.
in common.
I would openly admit that. Though.
Yeah, whereas I'm still very much in denial on that topic, based specifically on the fact that I read more than one. Yeah, okay, nobody's going to believe that anyway. Yeah, let's...
Well, you're in your home. If you had a poker book, you could just hold it into the camera and end this debate forever.
That is true.
Obviously,
That
you're
is
not
true.
doing that.
I'm not doing that because I'm playing Blitz. And I almost blundered mate in 1, but...
Excuses.
Always an
Yeah.
excuse.
Yeah, it never happens. So, Mr. Dougherty, are you nervous because you're now in front of hundreds of viewers and not of tens of viewers on your regular Twitch streams? Is that a different vibe?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So dark. So dark.
He knew what he what he signed up for. Come on, I'm being nice. Oh, he left. That was crossing the line?
Oh, he's still
He's
there,
gone.
no?
He's gone. No. I don't know. I apologize. I didn't mean it. I was just trying to be funny. That's why I tell Peter off the air every day after every show. And then rinse and repeat.
Come back.
Wow.
No, he's back. There he is. I can see him. I mean, upsetting Dodgy is not allowed.
I feel bad now. This, after all these years, this is the first time I genuinely feel bad on this show.
Okay, I stayed silent long enough. That was.
Wow.
Yeah, I was about to type a response to that question in chat, but
That was tough. Art Vandelay is saying Jan was channeling his inner radio, Jan. Yeah, that's what you get.
why am I playing the Yugoslav Kings Indian? I don't know anything about that opening. What could possibly possess me to play the Yugoslav without like the first bit of knowledge about anything here?
Nizar is saying Jan and Peter really needed a target with Lawrence gone. This is good therapy. First of all, I don't like being named in the same sentence as Peter there as a mean bully. Like Peter said some things that are unforgivable, but I have nothing but love and respect for Lawrence. And secondly, I don't want people to think that on this stream there's a lot of bullying going on. It's all meant in good fun. And if we cross the line, like I just did with the tens and hundreds of euros joke, we do apologize instantly and feel very bad about it.
That's the most wholesome thing we've said in a while.
Yeah, and it wasn't true.
Yeah, but I mean, as things go, you know, with wholesome things in general, those things being true has absolutely nothing to do with anything. Wholesomeness is what counts.
Spirit Tapper is saying he looks like a complete hipster. I don't know. How does a complete hipster look? Is the beard the main characterization of a complete hipster? Is it
I think that's
beard?
unfair.
I think
That's
there's
unfair. I had a beard before hipsters did, so that's unfair.
Also, I think hipsters have undergone a very big, there was a market change between what hipsters used to be and what they are right now. And depending on which period in the hipster history you are referring to, whoever made that comment is an insult that can only be cleansed with blood.
So Peter, are you pro or against hipsters? I couldn't figure out.
The current iteration, I think I'm very much against.
I think I'd be a hipster if I could grow a full beard. I think that's the only thing that's stopping me. Other than that,
Well, I
not
completely
to like?
missed the idea of my opponent's previous move. That's a bit embarrassing.
people want to know, Mr. Dougherty, what is your chess rating, first of all? I never cared. I'm not a...
My real rating?
Are you about to say we're not
24?
elitist on this show, Jan?
My chess 24 rating? I think that's the important rating.
That's the one that matters.
I don't know. I think it's like 2,500.
That's pretty good.
No, my FIDE rating's like 2060.
Now, you played a tournament recently, no? Like recently in 2019?
Yeah, it went up to 2060.
Oh, huh. Is
It
that
was much
because
more.
of everything you've learned on the great website that is Chess24 and Chessable, of course, with their Move Trainer 2.0?
I think it was mostly because of Move Trainer 2.0 on chessable.com. And I'd say your course, but that was after the tournament. So no.
You're saying you'd be much, much stronger now that you also had access to my course if Chess Live would resume in Sweden?
Or much, much worse.
Or about the same.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the three. Definitely one of the three, yeah, but we will never know
No, it could be slightly better or slightly worse too.
which of the three. I think I'm kind of lucking out here. I don't know. Yeah, probably wasn't doing all that great throughout that
I
game.
see a good question on Chess24. Can Peter do a Grunfeld course on Chessable?
Wow, Mr. Dodgy is all business. I always knew behind that humorous facade there's a shrewd businessman. But yeah, I'd watch that.
Yeah,
I've watched that
so
too.
would I. The problem is that for me, I actually have to record that instead of watching that. And that is supposedly harder. Anyway, are we... am I playing more, or are we expecting the games to restart anytime soon?
When does it continue? 5, no? Or in
It
like
should be
10
five.
minutes, I
It
think
should
you
be
could get
4:45.
another game. Let me check if there's any running stuff, but nah, I think you got time for another one.
Okay, let me pick a 3-minute challenge somewhere.
Persia 2500 is saying he is so nice. Who are you referring to? I'm assuming Mr. Dodgy, but he's always been nice. What made you
Okay.
think differently?
Here we go.
Oh, you're playing against a certain Maxi Bogues. Does not sound familiar. 3393. That's a pretty good rating.
That is a good rating, yeah. If I make a draw, I gain some points here.
I should
So let's try to
mention that
let's
I
try
like
to
that this is the world champion, Magnus Carlsen.
let's try to exchange. Well, okay. You bastard. Why you do this? You absolute horrible person. What why?
It's a
No.
serious move.
Okay.
Ooh, stepping right into it.
I'm aware. Actually, I'm not aware, but I will become aware in due time. Yeah, Chicken Club. Seriously, though? That's kind of pushing it a little bit.
This is tense.
Yeah, Magnus would never do that.
Not sure about that last move, but I mean, I'm not sure about many things in this game, to be honest, so why not?
Peter might come across as humble and not very competitive, but it's just an act. You do not become 8-time Russian chess champion without being a fierce killer at the chessboard. So
Yeah,
make no mistake.
WIM killer. I have a badge.
Didn't you just say that Magnus had many tasks and responsibilities?
Very tasks and responsibilities. But I lied. Are you familiar with Jordan Shalansky?
Who are you asking?
Both of you.
No.
No.
Yeah, it's a running gag on the Conan O'Brien TV show. He's a producer with very tasks and responsibilities. It's very funny.
Yeah, H4 was horrible. H4 was... I was not supposed to do that.
Why did you do that?
I don't know. I have no good answer to that. Like, I actually revived the knight on H6. Yeah, that was just beyond horrible.
Now it's important to keep your composure. Don't get distracted.
Absolutely.
It's a strong player.
Yeah, arguably one of the better players around. But only arguably.
It's arguable.
Ugh.
Green
Yeah,
Tea is saying, yeah, I would love someone to trigger Peter to show true colors of himself. I've tried for years. He's too composed, too calm, too collected.
Yeah, all of them things.
Too fast, too furious.
Yeah, all of them things as well. I'm currently very upset about many things. Yeah, this is where you normally resign, but I mean, and by you, you
No,
mean
this is
I
where
mean
you
me.
normally resign. No
Yeah,
one
exactly,
else would resign.
Yeah,
I'd resign here too.
No, you would.
out of solidarity maybe, but no, you wouldn't. But like, it's a very resignable position. It's a very resignable position.
Audio is saying Fast and Furious are not in my top 500 adjectives to describe Peter. Please name your top 500 adjectives then, Audio.
Yeah, the world needs to know. I have one active piece. It's not going to be enough.
Okay. Mr. Dougherty was talking smack non-stop while you were playing. These are hardly fair conditions.
Yeah, okay.
Could you explain why you resigned, just for the viewers?
Because
Rook
EF, rook
F6,
E8 check,
EF.
and yeah.
Rook E8, King F2?
Yeah, come on. Just for the viewers, I was sick of that game some time ago already, and yeah, I mean, probably even D4 is a mistake. It's a bit annoying. Getting bullied by the damn kids.
He's almost 30. So here you
almost
just
30,
saw no way to save the game.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Sionaya saying Mr. Dougherty is a strong silent type. Yeah, it's like an early Clint Eastwood.
That seems right.
Should have asked for a rematch.
Magnus
Okay.
not into rematches.
I'm gonna go eat some cake.
You're leaving? It's your
Yeah.
wife's birthday and you have other things to do than hanging out with us?
Yeah, I think she doesn't mind that I spent this time, but I think if I spend more time, then she might get angry. So I should go.
It's been a great pleasure having you on this program and seeing your face. I saw your face once on this tweet, but I did not lie that I never watched any of your streams. So this is a surreal
I have
experience
them.
to me, and I'm not sure.
I think I might be a
I will
mod.
recover.
Am I a mod?
No, you're not a mod.
I'm not even a mod.
You're
become a
VIP.
mod that easily.
I did make you a VIP, but you're not a mod.
Yeah.
VI Peter. Thank you so much,
How-
Mr.
how the
Dougherty,
mighty
for
have fallen.
joining the show. I'm still not 100% convinced you're real, but like 74%. Follow Mr. Dougherty on Twitter at ChessProblem. He's much funnier in writing.
That's true. I'm a lot funnier in writing. So, okay, I'll go back to watching the chess.
Go to
I'm gonna eat some
Chessable.
cake.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Mrs.
Read
Dodgy,
some
and all
of his
that.
editing there. And yeah, enjoy your cake. Happy birthday to Mrs. Dougherty. And join us again, please.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
You're still on screen, and Peter's not going to say anything to bail you out, because that's how he does it.
Yeah, Peter is a famous cyber bully. Not
you-
saying anything on screen too.
Honest question, am I too much of a bully? Like right here, now with Mr. Dougherty, who I genuinely like. Am I just being mean as a default? Because I can't tell anymore.
No, I'm pretty sure that you know your audience, and I'm like 99.9% sure Dodgy didn't mind in the slightest, just as I don't. But
Still, I have a feeling I can't have a normal conversation anymore without, trying to be funny at the expense of the other person, which is not how you're supposed to live your life.
Don't know what to tell you.
It's okay. It's okay. Smutty41 is saying Jan is just antisocial, so we have to forgive him. Yeah, that's the excuse we all use, but we can still try to better ourselves. Mr. Dodge is saying, woo, glad that's over. See, I don't want people to leave with that experience. Don G is saying, Jan's sense of humor is just right. I don't know. I feel bad. Apologies, Mr. Dodgy, if I... Not even if I crossed any lines, but if I made your stay less enjoyable than it could have been. Because I know it's not easy to jump into this. It's not really a Shark Tank. It's more of a... into this nerd's tank. With all the bullying going around. So I appreciate you showed up. Sorry for Peter, but you know he's a wild card. So...
Yeah. No, I feel like the cyberbullying I've just experienced is much more hurtful. I should have... that was just such poor, like, reading skills from me. I should have realized bishop b5 will be answered by h5, and then I will lose, and then I will never leave this down. And I could have played anything else on move 3. Like, just play h4 yourself. You will still lose, but then you will be the one making the nonsensical move on move 3, and you won that battle.
Yeah, it's unpleasant because he's also good at chess.
Yeah.
Jake Lones is saying the show is quite balanced now. Jan makes jokes at Peter's expense and Peter makes complaints at Peter's expense. Yeah, that sounds about right. All right, we need these games to continue.
We really do.
Professor Lemise is saying, waiting for Magnus to come on the stream. No, I don't think Magnus will show up today. But you never know with Magnus.
Well, he has kind of showed up. Specifically to bully the old guy, you know, who has never really... That's not true, but... I was going to say done anyone any harm, which is clearly a bit of an overstatement, but...
In the meantime, we are waiting for the games of the FIDEchess.com Online Nations Cup to resume, where China is in the lead. And Europe, Russia and the USA all still very much with a shot, at the very least, to stay close enough to make the final match. But for now, the Chinese squad has been crushing it, led by Ding Liren, who did not manage to win his game against Hikaru Nakamura, but made a draw very much from the position of strength with the black pieces. Wang Hao lost his game against Fabiano Caruana, but the Chinese squad was saved by victories by Yu Yangyi, where Linnea Dominguez, somewhat unfortunately, of course, for the Americans, resigned in a position that he could still have saved with King F1, Bishop D3, King G2, Rook C1, Rook A8, followed by Rook D8, which, yeah, is a somewhat surprising resource if you think you are lost and you feel it's being proven by his move Bishop E4. But yeah, they won't be happy about that, and Hou Yifan cruised to, frankly, what looked like an easy victory against Irina Krush, after Irina Krush somewhat lost the threat here after knight a5.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she thought e5 was just a crushing threat here or something, but yeah, going d5 here appears to be a decision that backfired. Let's put it like this.
In the meantime, Lawrence Trent, international master, chess personality, polarizing but beloved figure, is in the chat, and he's saying, "Ed Linux fan, big fan of gluten-free muesli as it goes." That's why we love having Lawrence here. He has all the hot gluten-free takes. Henry0813 is saying, what is Dodgy's real name? I have no idea. I have a rough idea what his first name could be, but I have no idea about the real name. Peter, you?
No, the vague idea of the real name comes from you. So, like, it's a derivative of a derivative of a real name, which, in these troubled times, is not worth very much.
Right. Then again, Mr. Dougherty also does a lot of moderating, and as I've seen recently, for moderators, it makes a lot of sense to not reveal their real name, because they're dealing with all the dangerous people in them chats. Not like us, who are dealing with the nice people, but I believe even calling yourself Mr. Dougherty and showing up on the screen is pushing it. That didn't make any sense. Sorry, I'm talking nonsense. So we have games resuming. Nepomniachtchi against MVL. And MVL continues his policy of not playing the Najdorf, the Grunfeld, and 1e4 in every game. This time it's the Caro-Kann, which he's dabbled in. You usually correct me if I say dabbled with, right? He's dabbled in Caro-Kann.
Yeah, I think it's dabbled in, yeah. And I think most people have been attracted to the idea of playing the Caro with black, specifically because these days everybody plays 3e5. And against 3e5, you at least have the illusion of being more or less assured a sharp fighting position, which you might be worse in, but it's definitely going to be a fighting position which white cannot just equalize and not allow you to get a game in, as would be the case with, let's say, many of the Spanish position or even the Sicilian positions.
So this is an attempt to force a draw, but you have to know so much stuff, and even then,
yeah, I did not mean the c5 queen b6 line though. That was my next sentence. I was more talking about the kind of stuff that, for instance, was played against me during this impromptu banter just now. The 97, 97, h6, g5 lines. c5 queen b6 is specifically a line played to make a draw, if you remember all the details. And curiously, I think MVL was the last person with the white pieces to actually show a sensible idea against it.
Was he?
In top level competitions, I mean, I think that game where MVL, in some reasonably well-known position, where everything is already hanging, just played g4.
That's
I'm trying to think.
versus MVL.
I know he was on the back side, on the black side of it. Yeah, sorry, I was, for some reason I was absolutely sure he was white in that game. Good that at least you remember things, because I just...
No, he had some games with white as well against Vishy, maybe even repeating that line, but I think Vishy just forced a draw. That's why I was curious if you meant that. But yeah, the one you're referring to, I think, is Corona with white in the St. Louis 2014 tournament, where he won all his games, and one of those was the victory against MVL. So this becomes super sharp, knight c3, knight c6. Castles.
Yeah, they generally castle, queen takes b2.
Is where it starts with the craziness.
Yeah, and there's definitely a very important fork down the road there, because after queen e1 there's white has two approaches basically. White could at some point go for endgames, which are supposedly slightly better, and I think maybe recently somebody won one of those endgames. But they I think are generally considered to be a draw. Or white could go for incredibly messy positions with queens on the board, which also I think currently are assumed to be a draw.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Then on board 2 in this Russia versus Europe match, we have Levin Aronian representing Europe against Vladislav Artemiev representing Russia. They are playing, one of these, and whatever this is called, queen c2 Maron lines, where black has a choice between e5, b5, a6, or even e5, a move earlier. And Artemiev plays his e5 move. Aronian goes b3, interestingly. Don't know much about this.
Yeah, I know absolutely nothing, but yeah, seems like a normal-ish position in which black will be okay if he somehow solves the issue of developing or preferably trading for one of white's light pieces, the bishop on c8, which currently is looking a bit forlorn. And white, I think, wants for preference something to do with like f4, e4, e5, which is why rook fd1 is surprising me a little bit. I thought if you were to try to punish what Artemiev is doing here, you would be quite interested in trying to perhaps play h3 instead of rook f1, because knight g4 would be annoying otherwise, and just starting to push in the center while black is not entirely developed yet. But rook fd1 is a signal that maybe Lev feels that even in sort of longer positional games, he's still better. And bishop g4, I think he always meets with f3, coming back to the topic of hoping to somehow solve the problem of the bishop on c8. There's a very quirky position in the Karakin-Duda game. Very Duda-esque.
How's Duda doing?
I suspect quite well, actually. I quite like what he's doing, but yeah, it's a very fresh approach against the bishop d3, neither of which, once again, you have to slightly marvel at how popular this has become, considering that it probably isn't the most critical reply to the opening.
Funny though.
It is very funny, yeah. g6, bishop e3, knight c6, and after f3 he just, whoa, and knight d5, knight d5. This is, yeah, but then my idea was connected with the blunder.
You just go ed, because bishop h8.
Yeah, bishop h8, knight e3, you probably don't want to bother with this, and then the bishop might get locked in by e5 or f6. Yeah. So ed5 castles happened, and then we get what Duda actually doesn't mind. He had a similar structure against Jan Nepomniachtchi in a must-draw game in the Hamburg Grand Prix. He didn't enjoy all of it. I think he was quite significantly worse, but sort of more importantly, he did hold it in the end. And I remember speaking to Jan afterwards, and he was very upset because he felt that he actually played that game really well, but the defensive resources are just so solid in this structure.
Stupid chess.
Yep.
All right, so Duda's trying to hold this. Musicchuk against Goryachkina on the women's board. Goryachkina representing Russia, Anna Musicchuk representing Europe. Can be confusing because I think her sister Maria Musicchuk is representing the rest of the world.
And she is actually in action in this round, playing against Zhu and Jun.
What is this? It's an exchange French, where knight c6 is a more combative response than knight f6, which most people choose. Knight c3 is a move I've seen, actually. Yeah, I can't say much about this. I guess white is ever so slightly better than usual.
I don't know. I think this is very minimalistic and shouldn't really give you anything at all. It's a bit depressing if lines like this start actually giving you a proper chance to get an opening advantage. I don't know if it worked exactly like we supposed in the first round of the day, but we did try to figure out what the central match of the day was for round 5. What do you think is the central match of the day for round 6?
Let's have a look.
Russia-Europe, probably.
Russia-Europe, yeah, that could be some tension there. Rest of the world against China, but China is a big favorite there. Yeah, I guess Russia-Europe, if I had to pick one. Those are also, together with the USA, the 3 teams sort of fighting for the second spot.
In terms of tournament standings, I think it has to be Russia-Europe, where Europe is currently 2 points ahead, but that only makes it so much more important for the Russian team to try to win this and catch up.
Vishy seems very committed to this Queen's Gambit declined line. Will you play this endgame? And tell white, okay, do your worst. Knight e2 was what was considered almost a refutation for a while, going for this knight g3 and then some knight to f5. But recently, Vishy and others, Lamy comes to mind, have been defending this endgame quite successfully. So Nakamura tries a different move here, plays bishop to e2, and I'm not sure. He's provoked f5, now retreats with the knight. Does not look to me like he's achieved all that much. Of course, white is very solid. So is black here.
Yeah, it's a it's a strange one. I think not everybody would naturally enjoy playing a position like this with black, but it's so very solid that I guess players like Vishy, who are just generally very, very good at defending, don't really mind knocking on wood for like 50 moves straight potentially, because it's just very, very difficult for white to generate anything significant.
I have a question about this position. Isn't Fabi just much worse?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the intention was here. Perhaps I mean, considering that
I think the intention is pretty clear. Vidit has 0 out of 3. Let's mix it.
But he's doing it in a way that you know, is not very intuitive, because white in the current position they have on the board, white is, I would say, probably just much better, with I would assume very, very little risk involved.
Yeah, the thing is he went for this d6, c6, bishop f5, which is an interesting line, giving white some more aggressive choices like knight g5, knight e1, knight h4, and so on. But Vidit played something very solid, and here I would guess, after, let's say here, the best you can do is play a move like d5, and you're very close to equality, but that was not Karana's game plan. After the c5 and a5 he played, he's really asking for some troubles. And Vidit.
Yeah, and Vidit obviously, you know, not very happy with how his tournament is going, and he will not need a second invitation to just go for it here. I quite like that he, you know, without even considering for very long, he just went with f4 and e5 instead of, let's say, rook e3 or rook e1 and d5, because I think keeping the pawn on f2 lowers your kind of small, but still not entirely non-existent losing chances. But playing f4 instead is much more aggressive and should have a higher expectation of actually netting you a full point potentially. So Vidit doing kind of the right thing and going for the maximum here. Yeah, bishop c8 needs to be played already. Like, I don't think we can postpone it any longer.
Yeah, gotta get rid of this guy. But still a scary spot for Karana
He's gone
to be
e5.
in. And he disagrees. He plays e5. Wow.
Yeah, that would be the only reason not to play bishop c8. But I thought that was kind of losing. But you know, the fact that
how do you win? F8 d6?
Yeah, I thought f8 d6 just wins, but I'm guessing the weakness on e4 somehow makes it playable for black. Queen d8 or somewhere, I assume queen d8. It's still a very, very scary position, because like rook e3, you know, it could very easily end up being absolutely horrible for black. Rook e3 and then d7, rook d6 or something. You could just lose. But if it does come off, if it doesn't lose on the spot, it is positionally very, very justified, of course. Stopping e4, e5 and establishing some kind of dark square control.
And at least it gives Vidit a choice, which is sometimes nice, that your opponent has to think instead of bishop c8 you take, and it seemed easy to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And Adiban is back to beast mode. He's just given up the pawn on g5. I assume it wasn't a blunder, because he doesn't blunder these things. Yeah, somewhere here he took, and instead of doing it slowly, he just played g5, bishop g5, f6.
Makes some sense, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course. I'm not sure if it's, you know, quote unquote correct mathematically, because yeah, that knight is kind of far away. It needs to be on e6 here. You can get it there, but it takes 3 moves. and in that time, White probably will do enough to stabilize. But yeah, this is how Adiban plays, and this is what brought him sort of most of his success. So I like that he's doing it today.
Yup. Arena Krush has another tough pairing. Black pieces against Humpy Conero. Krush, of course, quite outrated in that matchup as well. We'll see. Let's see. Have we seen any blood drawn? Nah, all 0-0. Then maybe we focus on Russia, Europe, with all the burning questions to be discussed. Why is Svidler not on the Russian team? Why is Grishuk not on the Russian team? Why? Who else? Lachno. Why is she not on the team? Dubov. Is that the list?
That's probably the most obvious parts of the list. Yeah, if we talk about the women's board, there's a
Kosteniuk.
reasonably long choice of players they could have gone for, and obviously if you look at the rating list, there's a number of players in the open section as well that could have been chosen. But I mean, large country, plenty of resources, some kind of a choice has to be made, and I mean, who they went with is really not that controversial. I mean, the team of Nepomniachtchi, Karyakin, Artemiev, and who's the reserve?
You don't think it's controversial to choose Karyakin over Grishuk? Grishuk is much higher rated in Rapid. Sorry, I'm just,
No. I mean,
talk.
yes, not selecting Sasha, or perhaps not doing. Once again,
Andreikin is a reserve.
Yeah.
No, you have many good chess players in Russia.
Yeah, I'm always going to push for Sasha to be included in any Russian team. I think he should be on it. But if you just look at the list of names, these are incredibly strong players.
Okay, so these are not like weak guys off the street, but actually good players.
Yeah, I think the one really the one decision that could be described as controversial is the non-selection of Grishuk, not the selection of any of these guys, but specifically them four of them over Grishuk. But once again, the approach has been made. I know this much.
Okay. Not that interested in this position, although I guess it's strategically quite rich. White is probably better. It looks
I'm a bit surprised by the A5 B5 push, because I'm not entirely sure what this intends to achieve. One sec.
Mr. Bonko25 is asking, Jan, could you have been playing this tournament? That is the real slide that we have to talk about, and I would happily have played for any team. Europe, rest of the world, India, like whoever would have me. I'd be there, but somehow it didn't happen. It is a big injustice, but sometimes you just take one up the chin and get on with your life. What can you do? But yeah, was I surprised that I did not get the call? Yes.
And I think Levon has done the right thing. This one probably isn't all that exciting. The Karyakin Duda game. Duda just solved all of his problems very comfortably. And here, Bishop D3 I quite like, because I think you kind of have to take Artemiev at his word and suspect that maybe you need to start thinking about facing B4 and giving yourself an additional E2 square apart from A4. Cannot be a bad idea. Maybe you just want to play 92 next move even regardless. 92, knight G3, just get it over there, and once again start thinking about mounting some kind of a play on the king's side.
Absolutely. I'm reading, looks like Vishy is a big fan of the hammer wrap. Is this the line Hammer is recommending in his Chess 24 series? I should check it out. I know where he recommends the Queen's Gambit and the Carlsbad structure, but I thought he gives the classical stuff like Bishop E7, short castles, Knight BD7. BTM98 is saying it would have been an unfair advantage of whatever team would have Jan. Yeah, I kind of get that reasoning. I guess they felt similar about Magnus and me, that whichever team you put us on just tips the scales a little too much. Still. So are we focusing on the Russia match? What's going on in the Nepomniachtchi MVL game? They went for this knight a4 line, which I think Giri played against Navarra, maybe. This position, and now some random g4, knight c5, b4, h4 combination. It was way over my head, but it looks like
it's all very futuristic. I've been staring at it for a while, trying to figure out who I like and why here, and I think. If you showed me this position without telling me that this is a high-level game, I would say black is probably a competent Caro-Kann player, and the white player appears not to have learned how to approach the opening, because look at his broken up king side and look at the beautiful squares the black pieces have, and black is clearly fully in control here. But I suspect it's not the case here. I suspect that this is actually some high-tech, computer-approved new strat. Somewhat alarmingly, Jan is down to 9 minutes after 15 moves.
Maybe he thought after that disaster in the Vishy game, enough of this blitzing out all my moves. I'll take some time. Because, yeah, Magnus on the show yesterday, he sort of, well, not called him out, but he also mentioned, get together, take some thinking time, and I do think that Magnus, wants Jan to do well. They're very friendly, or Magnus has often spoken about that he doesn't really have friends among his rivals, but I think he's quite friendly with Nepomniachtchi when it comes to, other things being equal and no one being friends. So I did think that he wants Jan to do well, and
I think that may have sounded harsh to people who are not particularly aware of their personal dynamics, but
that's my point. He's rooting for him, and he was, in his harsh truth way, was just, trying to give him advice, I believe.
That's how I took it as well. I thought that Queen b3 is maybe the quite a smart way to justify previous play, because if you give black a tempo here to play knight c6 and you still haven't created any threats anywhere, I think you're in large amounts of trouble here with white. Now after knight 6, I think queen takes b7 works. There's still going to be some compensation, but I take, I go. Variation, it might be a critical variation actually, so let's talk about it for a second. Knight 6, queen b7, we take on d4, we give bishop b4 check, which is kind of regrettable, but otherwise bishop b5 check forces king e7, and king e7 is not
check.
Yeah.
King f1.
So I guess king f1, and then now we go rook b8. And this could be quite playable for black. Bishop a6 sort of worries me a little bit.
Bishop a6?
I mean, I think given the choice which pawn I want to give up, h5 or b2, I am probably happier giving up on h5.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
And I don't know. I suspect this is some kind of equalish position, like rook takes h5, white probably goes a3, and then rook c1, and eventually black goes bishop d3 check, and this ends up being some kind of a draw. But obviously this is all extremely, surface level. I wouldn't even call it analysis, just throwing moves together and seeing what sticks.
All right, sharp stuff here. Both will feel very much at home in sharp stuff in general. MVL has been doing very well against Jan Nepomniachtchi, and these two guys are the co-leaders of the candidates tournament, and interestingly they face each other in the second half of the candidates whenever it resumes the tournament that will establish the next challenger for Magnus Carlsen with these very colors. Maybe means MVL wants to hold back his knight off. And, you know, go for the Caro-Kann. Or maybe he's on second level bluff thinking I want to play the Caro-Kann. So I'll play the Caro-Kann now. And then he will never expect me to repeat it. Who knows? He's gone long castles.
He's gone long castles, decides that, you know, the positional trumps he has just completely outweigh potential dangers to the king on c8, b8, those kinds of squares. I can believe that.
Come on board. Here we are. And
Yeah,
live on.
yeah, Lev actually transferred the knight over to g3, but notably after c5, he had the option of taking on c5, on b5, and chose against it. I assume takes knight h4 was bothering him, or something along those lines.
Bishop e8, bishop e2 does not end well for us. Yeah?
I mean, we can take on f7. I don't think we're worse, but I assume he wasn't that happy with this. Also, maybe even bishop e8, rook e8, gf, knight h4 anyway.
Yeah, but then we might as well include it. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, clearly. But yeah, some position like this could actually turn out to be quite unclear.
Yeah, can go wrong, especially in this time control.
Yeah,
Or
so he goes knight g3, bishop takes gf, and now he will have bishop e2 in reply, which should stabilize. But on the other hand, you can also say that the whole a5, b5, bishop b7, c5 plan has probably been a mistake if white has to take such measures, and after knight h2, knight h4, bishop e2, you can start thinking about, I don't know, first of all, queen e6 forces king h2, so white continues to have to make semi-only moves even to not get mated, and also just we've forced white to assume a slightly passive setup.
Yep.
Endgames are still much better for white though, because the pawn on b5 will be weak.
All right, let's conclude our tour. Is the game over? What's going on here?
No, game is clearly not over. I guess white.
No,
is
it's a
slightly
game
better.
over. I mean, yeah, Kayaki may draw against Duda.
Yeah, that was very much to be expected. That position was completely equal for a while. Has been completely equal for a while.
Mm-hmm. And Musicuk against Goryachkina, yeah. It's fishing for tiny advantages with white.
Yeah,
Not
very
much,
importantly, the fact that black had to take on g3 at some point means that the dark squared bishop, which often in these structures actually is the worst piece on the board for white, will have a very nice square on g3. Black is probably still completely fine, but it's a better version of similar positions that you normally see.
Yup. Let's go to another match. Nakamura against Anand. Seems like there's still all to play for in that Russia versus Europe match. Nakamura Anand, obviously. Board 1 for USA versus India. And I read some questions. Is Vishy better?
Yeah, I have a
no?
feeling Vishy found a very interesting idea there.
AG8.
No, but he gave a pawn earlier. Like, he played f4. Hikaru placed his pieces in such a way that he allowed this. And now black definitely has a lot of play on the king side.
Yeah,
the
EF
white knight.
d4 was dropping. And knight f4, I guess. Bishop f4 is not exactly helpful either. So you had to go gf. Now rook h8, nice move. Hinting at g5.
Yeah, I mean,
King h1.
very strongly hinting at g5. And after king h1, he does go g5, takes f3. Yeah, looks like black is very much in control. For instance, you can go for some, let's say, rook h5, rook gh8 ideas, just aiming to pick that knight on h4 up. Yeah, after all the speeches I in particular gave about this being, you know, an ideal system for people who don't mind doing absolutely nothing with black for 50 moves, we are now watching a game in which black is sort of playing sharply for a win. Already having sacrificed a pawn.
Vishy, huh?
Yeah.
Just
Vishy.
crushed Nepomniachtchi, checkmated him, and now he is better with black against Nakamura.
Yeah. Very nice to see.
It's
I'm a
true
I'm a
inspiration
lifelong
for
fan,
all of
so-
us old men. Fabi? Is Fabi managing to mix it?
Well, it's livened up, but in the end, Vidit chose to take this way. And now after rook e1, queen g7, queen d3, black has rook a1, which is what Fabi played, protecting the knight on e4 by pinning the back rook. He's probably completely fine. I don't know if he is better. White probably has some bailouts available. Something like knight d2, maybe even immediately now. Should be, I assume, should be enough to just trade everything off the board. Unless it loses to queen d4, which would be unfortunate.
Was that line? Sorry, I was zoomed out.
Rook a1, knight d2. I was wondering if knight d2 just... No, we don't take. We go knight d2 instantly. And I was wondering if this is enough to just trade everything off the board. But queen d4 is worrying me here.
Right here, right now?
Mm-hmm.
So sharp.
Yeah. Probably ends up being some sort of equality anyway after takes on a1 and bishop f1 here. Vidit chooses to take on a1 and go rook e1 first, which is maybe safer, actually. Just make sure that you never have to calculate any of that silliness that I was mentioning. And knight d2 still can happen on the next move.
Vidit question. Do you think he gets more Vidit Vishy or more we did it again jokes?
I think the state of current, the current education levels are such that probably, Britney fans outnumber the Latin speakers by such a margin that, although Veni Vidi has gained some popularity. I'm sure Google searches for Veni Vidi have been peaking for the past month and a half.
I gave you a reason to talk about poker. That was my mistake.
How did you even know? I'm actually very surprised you caught on so early.
Sasha told me the other day.
Okay.
Adiban, pawn down?
Adiban still pawn down, not unexpectedly, having given it away on move whatever it was, on 15. And still, sort of more worryingly, he hasn't actually developed any attack on the king side yet, giving white ample time to play maybe even something like knight d2, rook g1, f3, bishop f2, and then there's probably never going to be an attack on the king side after that.
And I'm reading Daniela Queen is saying Poland might be one of the only European countries with two 2700s. Can that be true?
Oh, it's very easy to look up, right?
Yeah, we could just bring up the list, but it's more fun to do it mentally.
Well,
France probably not yet. Bacro is below 2700. Alireza is not yet, question mark French.
And Laurent also out of the club.
Okay, let's keep it a serious conversation. Spain is too low.
I assume the framework is Russia is not a European country. Yeah.
Yeah, Russia we're not counting, obviously. I was thinking about England, but at some point they were all like 2698. So maybe even if we include England,
Gawain definitely broke the barrier at some point, but maybe he is now back to being like 2 points short or something. Yeah, then there's the usual it's not semantics, but you know what I mean. The question of whether Azerbaijan is a European country or not, and so on.
Yeah, they obviously have at least two. I think probably exactly two currently, but yeah. There is no question there. Armenia, it's only Lev on currently, I would guess.
I think it's only Lev right now, yeah.
Ukraine, that sounds like a no-brainer, but I think it's actually not.
Yeah, amazingly, Ukraine might not have two right now.
They might have zero. At some point, they all fell below. I'm not sure
that would
what
be
the current
like
situation is.
I think we discussed it on air at some point, just how weird it is to me that Ukraine, and in particular, like Ruslan, whatever he does with his life, is always going to be a top player, and Vasily Mikhailovich, of course, as well. But yeah, none of them are in there.
Yeah, I don't think they have any. Hungary, Rapport, Leko? Question mark? No, Leko is below, yeah?
Yeah, I gave
Leko's
up and
probably
actually
below.
sorted by nation. Poland, and there are actually 2 Spaniards in there.
Yeah, Spaniards we mentioned, yeah. Vallejo and Anton, that I knew.
And that's it, yeah. And then Russia and Poland,
Interesting.
and yeah.
So, Jordan van Forest. No pressure, but Holland could get in there. Jordan's in the chat, greetings. And we have to clarify that Jordan is a very smart guy. There was a lot of controversy yesterday, and that was just wrong. Like all the horrible things I've said to Mr. Dougherty, I felt bad about. But that Jordan's smartness was questioned is just completely out of line. Because he's one of the smart kids running around.
Yep.
See? Peter did not throw you under the bus there, Jordan.
Vidit is now a pawn up, but I guess Fabi holds.
Jordan thought it was hilarious. Yeah, but that's because you're so smart. Trent is saying... Ah, no, it's not Trent, it's Trendle. That probably stands for T. Rendell. Can you change that username? It looks too close to Trent, T. Rendell. Just make it a big R. Sadler is England number 2 now. Matthew is insanely close to 2,700 now, which is unfair after he took a 40-year chess break.
Yeah. No, but Matthew is that kind of a guy, yeah.
I think he likes chess, which I find very unfair in general. So how can you compete? But yeah, that's very impressive. Shout out to Matthew Sadler and his, what is it, 2694? That's amazing.
Yeah, and also, like, I remember when he quit. I think he quit he was like rated 2660 at the time, and he was world number 25 or some such. Not lower than that, maybe even higher. And he just up and went. And that speaks to, a reasonably well-rounded person, because, to be able to do something this well and still think, there are better things I can do with my life, and I can just quit this easily and move on is, you don't see it very often with chess, I think.
Because in those times, there was no quit pro, but Matthew Sadler did it. Still a work in progress. I didn't quite land it, but there's something there. Just let me think about it some more. Is Conero checkmating Irina Krush?
No, black is fine.
All right. What game do you want to see?
I think the Nepo game is still by far the most interesting and also the most relevant one. And it's a real mess now. Because Nepo successfully baited MVL into winning back the pawn, but not the one on h5. He actually gave up the c pawn, and now the c file is open. And white, I suspect, has genuine threats. What they are, I wouldn't want to be forced to say, but he probably has some, right? Rook c8.
Je ne sais pas.
I mean, you would like to be able to play rook takes b6, but I don't think it works. I don't think there's enough there. It's just a couple of checks.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, like, even if, let's say, all the rooks come off, white probably isn't doing so horribly. If you imagine some kind of position like, let's say, rook c1, rook c6, rook takes, rook c8, we trade all the rooks, I play queen g3. We probably don't lose this with white, but obviously not the dream. Also, an interesting question is, what is MVL thinking about? Like, what, apart from rook c8, which other moves you would even consider making in this position? Queen takes h4, rook takes b6 check is seemingly ill-advised. He goes bishop e4. Okay, so he's saying there is so much, there is no threat to such an extent that I can waste a tempo here, allow you to play rook c1, allow you to take on b6 with the c6 square currently uncovered, and you can still do nothing at all. Also, big question, if white goes f3, I guess he just goes back, but he says we've improved greatly because the h5 pawn will now be hanging on every move or something. Curious.
Yeah.
Not sure how I feel about that.
I have zero feelings about anything happening in this game. Tato Sarana, International Master, brings up a very good point. There should have been a Lawrence Trent team in this competition because he has so many boys. That would not be a bad addition. Like Lawrence and his boys. Could be two teams, rest of the world and Lawrence's boys.
And the Lawrence's boys team would consist of, Fabi board 1.
Oh, it could be anybody, literally.
Yeah, that is also true. Yeah, there's absolutely no limit to who can be selected for the Lawrence's boys.
Well, some people are not Lawrence's boys, but most are. But yeah, let's put together the dream Lawrence's boys team. So it's Fabi's board 1, that's his boy. Who else?
f3, rook takes h5. Whoa.
If we take?
Rook h4, I guess. And the amazing thing is, there's actually no perpetual on the other side of the board, yeah. Like, it looks like white should at least have a perpetual, but he doesn't. So, if you go in, you have to actually do something on the queen side.
Mr. Dougherty is saying Fabi, Hikaru, Nepo, Aronian. No, I don't think those are Lawrence's main boys. You could have Julian Hodgson, at least as a team captain. Shout out to Julian Hodgson if you're watching, by the way.
Yeah. And people in chat are both what's it called? Walk of shaming me for allegedly wearing the same polo shirt I wore yesterday. Although I have so many pastel toned Lacoste polo shirts, I don't think you will be able to prove it.
Wow, how many pastel toned Lacoste polo shirts do you own?
At least 3.
Wow.
Actually, the number is actually a lot higher, but let's go with at least 3. And also asking if I've caught the virus. No, what happened was the summer had reached St. Petersburg to such a degree that, what are they called? The birch trees are now in bloom, which means that both me and the Chinese restaurant music are now going to be very ill for about a month.
Oh, sorry to hear. Cthulhu is saying, what's the big deal? We all know Jan is wearing the same knickers. Cthulhu has been very mean to me today. Or maybe it's been a recent trend that I did not catch up on. No, I'm dressed up as usual. All right, so this position is actually exciting.
Yeah, let's maybe talk about it.
I should tell myself to stick to chess for a second, yeah. Rook h5, and Nepomniachtchi is thinking, down to 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, this is a very interesting approach by MVL, because honestly, like, it doesn't feel like this should be a winning attempt. You still feel like Black is probably trying to make a draw, but he is trying to make a draw in like the most aggressive way possible. It's the, what's the correct comparison? Like, it's the what of trying to make a draw. The Conor McGregor. That doesn't exactly work. No.
The honey badger.
The honey, yeah, exactly. This is the honey badger of trying to make a draw with Black. Also, if we don't take on e4 yet, we can maybe spend a tempo on a move which will create an actual threat somehow. Let's say if we go rook ac1 here, what does Black do? Black probably takes on h4, and the question is, like, amazingly, I think maybe even queen takes h4 is possible, but he's taken the bishop, so let's discuss this. Fe4, I assume MVL just snap takes on h4 with the rook.
I'm reading Wesley has defeated the beast.
Whoa.
Adiban went down. Brief Scores update, maybe? Ah, Aliban's still playing? Maybe not updated. Taming the Beast, says Sione. Yeah, that's better.
And I quite like bishop f3. Bishop f3 saying that yes, you have a check from g5, but the bishop on g2 connected with the queen steal on b3 will make it very, very difficult for black to give further checks. But that's a nice thing to say as a statement, but is it a statement of fact? Let's say I go queen g5 check here. And I don't know if it's bishop g2 or king f1, but after bishop g2, I wanted to point out that I can maybe play rook dh8. Somewhat surprisingly, rook b6, king a8. And that's the end of checks. And maybe rook h1, queen g2 will be mate of some sort. You know, maybe black is actually ahead in the race. So this is a very, very exciting position, which is very difficult to analyze correctly. I mean, it's a lot of fun to analyze, but very difficult to analyze correctly without computer assistance. You could also just
I don't like fun, difficult activities. Unclear. Next game. Sorry, you could also take what?
de4, but de4 bishop g2 feels counterproductive because I think white wants to play bishop g2 anyway, and de4 doesn't really, apart from winning a pawn, which I don't think is very relevant in this position, it's kind of not concrete enough. Yeah, let's do a brief roundup and then return to this, because this clearly, from what I've seen, is the most exciting game of the round. Is Vishy
This is fun
now?
too. Let's have a look at Nakamura Vishy in the Am I going nuts? Why do I not see Nakamura Vishy on my screen? Ah, because it's not really board 4, it's down here. But this is board 1. And the little engine bar there seems to indicate that Vishy is indeed completely winning.
Yeah, you can just take on h4 and you should win eventually, because the white pawn majority in the center isn't really running very far. Rook g2, g7 is a bit annoying, and also I think it's worth noting that probably white has no way to unpin himself anyway, so black, if Vishy feels there is something useful he can do right now, he probably wins that knight on the next move as well. So, I don't know, playing something like bishop b6 first is probably very much possible, just to improve your general situation.
Yeah, Vishy doing well, and will Vidit avoid defeat? It does look.
I mean,
that way.
if anyone is slightly better, it's white, but you
still a draw.
don't win this with white.
G5,
It's just a draw.
Just a draw. All right, back to Jan Nepomniachtchi against Maxim Vashila-Graf.
Yeah, this livened up very, very significantly.
Rook
Rook h3. I briefly cheated when I was looking at the team scores. Instead of rook h3, queen g5 check apparently was somehow equal. Rook h3 computers were criticizing, but not because of e takes d5. I think rook c3 was supposed to be a strong move in reply, kind of trying to stabilize, unpinning the queen on b3 and so on. But e d5, yeah, it's maybe Jan thought that with the bishop on f3, the long diagonal being lengthened all the time, maybe he thought he now has the threat of rook takes b6. But queen g5, queen f4 played. Rook takes b6 is still not made because black still goes king e8, and any kind of discovered check runs into rook takes f3. So Jan goes rook f3, rook a3, rook h1 check, king e2. This is probably some kind of a draw, right? We just go rook h2 check back, and
Feels
I don't
perpetual.
think. Yeah, I don't think the king can run for. Yeah, the rook d2 queen d4 is mate. So I assume this is now a draw with rook h2, rook h1, rook h2, rook h1, which would be a bit of a...
Boring.
A bit, well, yeah, I mean, I hope everybody can see the huge air quotes there. This has not been a boring game. Queen
Can we
e5,
continue?
but... King d3, question mark. Also queen... No, queen e3, queen b2 is actually awkward, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. I don't know, I can't calculate. Rook h3.
Yeah, rook d5, rook h3
rook
actually,
d5,
yeah.
like, I'm not sure which order, let's do it this way.
Yeah, this might win. This might very easily be close to winning. And is king d2 better in any way? It probably comes to the same. Yeah, king d2 instead of king d3. It actually allows more checks. It's very difficult to imagine king d2 being stronger.
Sorry, which position?
After queen e5 check, I was wondering if king d2
yeah.
was somehow stronger than king d3, but I doubt it.
You probably can't chill on the back rank, can you?
No, queen d4 check is just very awkward as well, I think, maybe. Doesn't seem like an improvement, but MVL has repeated once, but he still has 6 minutes against a minute and a half. I think he very possibly will just give himself an option to just make a draw on the spot and continue thinking. Yeah. I don't think he can play rook h2 check anymore because that will actually be a threefold. But yeah, now he has all the 6 minutes on his clock to try and evaluate queen takes e5.
All right, Maxi boy, go for it.
Yeah, we as viewers, we obviously very much want him to go for it, and there's actually a that's very confusing. It's such a confusing position. In order to just search for team scores, I once again navigated to the Chess24 match page, and he's gone for it. Yeah, well played. And amazingly, in this position, the computer first line is queen takes d5, not bishop takes d5, which is...
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, it's an indication that bishop d5 is just completely unplayable. And after queen d5, rook d1 check is actually the cleanest way to win everything.
And we're burning down the house. Wow.
Yeah. Bishop d5, rook h3, and yeah, I think Jan just ends up losing this rook on c6 with checks, wherever the king goes after the rook takes on b3.
Yep.
This is a, obviously this is a rapid tournament, and the fact that it's being played online adds a, a very specific, twist to it. But considering the candidates, this is a remarkable victory for MBL. Winning a game like that, just generally winning a game against Jan is kind of important for their personal dynamic, but winning a game like that, where I think both of them would pride themselves on being extremely good in these types of positions, and a kind of a printable brilliancy like the one we're currently seeing on our screen, does give you wings.
Yeah, he's been crushing Jan in their direct matchup for a while somehow. You
Jan
never can explain these dynamics, but somehow it's been working in Maxim's favor.
Yeah, it's you don't really. It's difficult to figure out why certain players do so well against certain other players, but yeah, that one is well known. And cleverly, MVL includes queen e2 check here before taking on d5 to have queen takes a6 as an additional threat.
Blobix is saying that's the right time for Magnus to appear and comment on his next French challenger. Well, the biggest French challenge he's ever had to overcome was Laurent Fressinet, no? Who's also in the chat with us. Zlatan, how are you? He's saying, hello, dear viewers.
Everybody's doing the shtick now. And in the meantime, in the Battle of the Prodigies, Wei Yi apparently is just completely destroying Alireza.
Is Wei Yi still a prodigy? He's like 38 at this point.
Yeah. And actually, I did not realize why it doesn't have a B pawn, so maybe it's not that bad. I thought why just had an extra A pawn, and then I counted the pawns again and realized I was being slightly simplistic and or stupid.
It's all right.
It really isn't. I suspect white should still be much better, but yeah, with the B pawn running, it's no longer such a foregone conclusion.
I'm reading Come on Ali in the chat here. It ain't over yet. Come on Ali.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly the tune I was thinking of. What is the tune?
I don't know.
Like it's playing in my head, but I can't figure out. It feels like it should be ABBA, but it probably isn't ABBA.
I can Google it, not very quickly, but I will use both of my typing fingers to find out. Come on Eileen by Dexy's Midnight Runners.
Apparently, yeah. Chat knows everything. It has appeared in chat sort of before you finish typing. There are some. And and Lorinda even knew, and Lorinda doesn't like music, so that's very alarming.
Or people.
And or people, yes. Why are we now being mean to Lorinda? I did not endorse that.
Feels
that
only right.
development.
Also, is that being mean? Lorinda, do you like people? I should mention that I do not know Lorinda at all, while Peter and Lorinda are close friends. But I still think I'm right.
This is spiraling out of control. There was also a mention that
Now you're uncomfortable? Like all the meanness to Daugherty we're fine with, and a statement that Lorinda doesn't like people, that's crossing the line?
I don't know. Uncertain noise this time. The Vishy game is still ongoing, and I think the position on the board right now is about as good as white could have hoped for. Should still be lost, I assume, but there's now some work required.
What's that noise? Is it a tea kettle in your background, or is it music? I can't really tell.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the additional noise. This is probably a blender, and the thing was, I was kind of dying from lack of fresh air, but the moment the window got opened in the study, like the draft or the drought, it's probably the drought, the English language, the drought was so strong that if you keep the door to the study closed, it keeps on banging. So now everything is open and you get all kinds of sounds.
Gotcha. Nakamura is very resilient, is he not?
He is very resilient,
but he's putting up a fight.
Yeah, I did not expect this game to be this close. Honestly, I thought Vishy will just coast from the position we had seen last around move 32-33. Yeah, I did say draft to begin with, and then I overcorrected myself. This is the usual procedure. Yeah, but yes, spelled draft if you're British. I am obviously, we've established I'm British by this point, I think. So what's happening in the matches? The US is +1 against India, and the Irina Krush is actually doing very well against Hampi.
Boom.
I don't know if she's actually winning, but she has a very nice advantage in a completely unlosable rook endgame. And Vishy, as we've been discussing, is better against Hikaru. So India should hope to at least draw this match with some luck. Although Hikaru made a tremendous amount of progress. Hikaru probably doesn't lose this anymore, I have a feeling, because of how discoordinated the black pieces are, and the runner on the A file is kind of annoying. Although, you know, if anyone can convert this into a full point, it is Vishy, because Vishy is very good at, you know, short calculation required for conversions of this sort.
So you think if anybody can convert this is Vishy?
Yes.
So you would pick Vishy above Magnus or Alireza and so on in this position?
Yeah, let's choose this heal and die on it. Why not?
I don't know. I'm not sure if we need more controversy after all the horrible things I've said about Lorinda today. Laurent, back me up here on something. Zlatan56 is saying, you call Zlatan an imbecile at fake cheater. How can I like you? Laurent is having his own petty fights with the chat. He's busy.
And right. Jan apparently is getting away with it.
Whoa.
Breaking news. Whoa.
That's a great pity.
This now really does look like a draw. This is extremely bizarre. Yeah, I think this will count as a very big miss by MVL.
Agro Alan is saying this stream is 1/10 as good as last week's. Need to change it up a bit, guys. Thanks for the feedback, Agro Alan. We shall try to do better.
We shall endeavor to change it up in unspecified ways.
It should be at least 1/5 as good as the last week's.
Yeah. Wei is now, I think, winning by force against Alireza, so at least that one we can put to bed.
I know there was a figure of speech, but it's probably like past midnight in China, no?
Hang on a second. Can we go back like 2 moves? Move 40? Knight f5 check? Knight f7, knight f5 check? I mean, I understand knight takes f7 probably also wins, but why do we not just... king h7 exists, yeah.
Well, the game is over, so he can't have been too wrong.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Wei Yi wins and can go to bed. Agro Allen is saying, need Tanya, need Lawrence, need input, need guests. Peter's doing all the analysis. It's always hard to please everybody, Agro Allen, because during the MCI, a common feedback we got was also that there were too many people on the stream simultaneously and that, you know, Peter should do more analysis. I agree that I'm not contributing much to the analysis, but in my defense, I'm operating our little production tool and the chessboard and the chats, that stuff. And that's been the dynamic. But yeah, it's hard to please everybody. This tournament, of course, is a FIDEchess.com event and not a Chess24 event like the Magnus Carlsen Invitational, where we dedicated way more resources to... I'm still happy to have a more casual hangout show here with Peter like we did in the old days, but I'm very sorry if it does not meet your expectations. As I said, it's hard to please everybody. There's also, I'm sure, an official stream with guests with more variety. You might want to check that out. Rajabov against Ding Liren. Is that a draw?
Probably. I mean, white is not better, but I don't think... Hang on a second. King g5, king e3, f4 check, and then f3, f2. Sadly, we actually need to calculate. I understand nobody wants that. Oh no, he's winning like this. Yeah, that's very clever by Ding. Takes king g5 and e5. We don't need to calculate. It's just dead.
Opposition.
Right?
got
Just
to give
absolutely
way.
dead. Yeah, you have to run towards the b6 pawn, but you never get there in time. King d3, king f4, you're like 5 tempi short by the looks of things.
There you go.
And that probably means that China wins again, right? Because the winning with black in a position like this, it's normally a good news for that team. Yeah, Wei Yi already won, and Ding will also win. So yeah, China winning very comfortably. Zhu and Jun is not going to. I mean, she's not winning, but she has an extra pawn in the rook endgame, so all is well. All is well, and everything depends on Vishy winning his game against Hikaru in terms of what happens in the India match against the US.
Yep. Not clear if all is well for MVL. Looks fortressy, no? These rooks just.
Yeah, I don't think you can break in. It's very important that he established one rook on d3 very early to make sure that the king doesn't cross the.
He goes a4
doesn't
directly.
Cross the d file. I guess ba king a6 is the plan. Against somebody like if Jan had like 10 seconds left, I think MVL would maybe once again become a bit. But honestly, let's say I go ba and you even take king b7 takes a4 here. That's probably still a complete draw, right? Because the pawns just can't cross. It doesn't really change anything in the overall situation. I just continue passing forever. Rook f3, rook h3, rook f3, rook h3. And nothing ever happens.
Yeah, I was wondering if we could bring the king here before going a4. But then I guess pawn endings are not winning either because there's always enough counterplay. So
yeah, and I said Jun is clearly not winning that rook endgame. She is actually clearly winning it. So I may have misunderstood things.
I thought you said Humpy is clearly not winning.
No. I was talking about this endgame, and it's just completely over. Black has allowed something she shouldn't have allowed. And
yeah, this looks good for white now.
Yeah.
World champion. What a luxury for China on the women's boards. No, you rest Hou Yifan, you bring in the reigning world champion.
Yeah, they're doing well there. They have what is called in the business an embarrassment of riches.
That's what we say in the business. And Vishy, is he converting? Sorry.
Looks like probably not, sadly, for Team India. Bless him. I think the a pawn is just too strong, and the two rooks are too active. Yeah, a7, d3, and now something like rook e6 or even rook e6 probably. And it's just very difficult to see how Black ever makes any meaningful progress.
Okay. If Vishy couldn't win this, nobody could.
Exactly. Yeah. And that narrowly saves the win for Team USA, with Wesley beating the Beast, and Hikaru saving what must have been a very, very poor position at least at some point, and is now just a draw.
Laurent Fraissinet, French Grandmaster, trainer of Magnus Carlsen, beloved host of many of our French shows, is in the chat. He's saying, don't believe in life nor love at booty. That's very dark, Laurent. Who hurt you?
Yeah, show on the doll.
We're down to 2 running games. One of those is pretty much over. Zhou and Jun against Musichuk. So let's look at results.
Very running.
The USA defeats India, who continues having a hard time. Good news is that Vidit shows up on the scoreboard after losing his first 3 games. He now makes a draw against Caruana. Vishy did not manage to convert this position against Nakamura. And since Adiban lost, that means USA gets away with it. 2.5, 1.5. China crushes the rest of the world. where Yi wins the Prodigy battle, as you mentioned. Yeah, it hasn't been particularly close. Zhu and Jun, of course, played for China. The display is a little strange there. Big victory, and that means that the one result we're waiting for is, can Nepomniachtchi defend this and secure the 2-2 for Russia versus Europe, or can he not?
Seems like he should be able to. The setup is very sturdy, and perhaps you can even afford to take on a 4 and allow that pawn to cross to b3. But I suspect it's not even required. I think much will depend on how low Maxim can get Jan 2 on the clock. But Jan's moves in general should just be very, very logical at every step of the way. If you're checked, you are defend against the check. If you're not checked, you want 2 rooks on the third at all times. Very surprised by no rook d3 in that position.
Rook
but I guess there's
D3 and b3.
no. He could no. Why king f1? What was king f1 all about? Why not rook d3?
That I do not know.
That seems strange to me. I don't quite understand it. I also don't understand why after queen c4. How did that go? Queen c4, king g1. He played queen g8 check for some reason.
He's just messing around. But on
Yeah, I
G4,
would have been
there's no
trying.
prizes to be gained.
Yeah, I would have been trying to play b3 there. He actually had the option of playing b3, which maybe wasn't winning, but I think if you have that option, you should be grabbing it with both hands. And with the queen on c4, it looked like a perfect moment to actually play b3. You might never be able to do it again. Although now he can probably circle back with queen c5, king f1, queen c4, king g1, and play b3 again.
Laurent Fressinet is saying, yeah, he pretends I am mean, but I am a nice guy compared to Jan. We both know that's not true, Laurent. Like, I agree my on-screen persona is mean, but in real life, you're much meaner than me. Wouldn't you agree? No, you, Peter. But
the mean
Laurent,
off between
I think will admit his meanness now.
the mean off between Jan and Laurent.
Exactly.
Rook df1.
Wow, he's going for the f pawn.
I am really confused by this. I'd be extremely scared about allowing the pawn to b2. I think he'll lose after that. Like, he's planning to go, yeah. Just play rook d3 there. This is just so confusing to me. Now he goes b2 and I mean, eventually, and the king comes to a2, and that should be. But maybe that's not winning. Maybe that's still a draw because the king gets pinned along the second file. Maybe Jan is just smarter than us, but I still don't understand what was wrong with, let's say, keeping the rooks on f3 and h3 and never having to make another decision in this game. Just, yeah, I don't know. In practical terms, this is definitely not what I would have done.
Wow, Niels Grandelius, the Scandinavian number 2, Swedish number 1, is in the chat. He's saying, you are both very nice guys, Laurent and Jan and Niels, that you are not backing me up on this narrative. How mean Laurent is. I cannot believe. We're all kidding. We're all great friends. We spent a lot of time together on Team Magnus, which is why Niels should know.
Yeah, maybe this is still just a draw, although, as mentioned, I would be scared, pantless, to defend it this way instead of just keeping both of them on the fourth and never allowing them to progress any further.
Laurent is saying, what did Peter just say? Please, Jan. But of course I know.
What did Peter just say?
You said you would be scared pantless to allow the pawn on b2. I'm like that kid in school who's not really paying attention, but he can repeat pieces of that last sentence that was uttered.
Yeah. And there was a mention of Queen C5 being a table-based win in some position, but we don't know which one, and it's way too low, way too late to try and reestablish that. And I'm guessing here you just go rook to f2, and there's never any progress to be made, which is quite spectacular because it looks like there should be a way to get this pawn one square further, but apparently not.
Probably Jan has seen this coming all along, but it's weird construction when he could probably just have sat there on the third rank to go for this.
Yeah, but also MVL, if we go back to where this endgame started, somewhere on move 40, there's absolutely no way Black has to allow this. He used to have two passers on the like move 4, yeah, somewhere here. Just start pushing G5, F5, G4, and so on. There's this has to be winning. This has to be, I mean, winning cleaner than what he's done, and yeah, very bad miss. And now rook.
And we're being told King A3 wins, folks. Does it? Rook F3 B1?
Yeah, apparently after Queen H7 check, it was in what? King H2 is a blunder. King G2 had to be played to have Rook F3 here.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Whoa, Jan. Quel error.
Quel error indeed.
And Blobix is already in the taxi to Laurent's house to have a victory party for MVL tonight.
Yeah, and this is what happens when you have to defend this endgame for so long. And still, it feels like with a queen on d3, you probably should kind of pay some more attention to this one threat that White has. I mean, Black has.
That means Europe is about to defeat Russia.
Yeah, does seem like that. And it's still actually kind of tricky. After Queen d6, King h3, you still need to make some quiet moves to convert. But yeah, now it's probably not anymore. Now this is.
How do we do it? After check, we just go here.
Now we just go here. This is not difficult. What the tricky part is King h2. If he had gone King h2 instead, but I guess b1, Rook h7, King b2 then would win. Yeah. Because you also cover the b7 square, so you can just start going b1, and there is no check from b7 after Rook a7, King b2.
Yeah, here we are, King on a1. The pawn is gonna cost a rook. I'm not an expert, but I have a feeling Nepomniachtchi will be unhappy about today.
Yeah, I think he will not like this after defending very, very well. Finding. He probably shouldn't have found himself in that position to begin with.
No, also combined with the Vishy game, it's a rough day at the office.
Yeah, no, but yeah, 0 out of 2 is not going to please anybody, and losing to MVL is, in the context of everything that's been going on, is not good. It ends up costing Russia the match, which is also kind of horrible. You really want to limit your horrible games for the national team to the matches where your teammates have either bailed you out or also played so horribly that your game doesn't matter, and this is neither. So not fun.
Yeah. And as is being pointed out by the chat, this is pretty much always won at Super Grandmaster level.
Har.
Sorry.
I did score half a point out of 2 here with both colors, so during a very condensed period of time, like end of 2000, start of 2001, and then never had this endgame ever again. So it was a bit strange.
Maxime, surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, but I think he's very classically trained in all these endgames. So I think he will know. Of course, he could probably also calculate his way home, but he probably knows that triangulation, which you can show me a million times. I'll still forget it, this Queen E1, H4, E4, whatever. But
No, that's not difficult. That position that I once tried reconstructing on air and didn't succeed, that one is kind of tricky against computers. But I think what we're like human defenders never even get there. That weird setup, let's say for white, king on e1 and the rook on g3 against, let's say, queen on the second and a king on e4. Yeah, the king should be somewhere in the center, so let's let it go. Yeah. Yeah, some kind of a setup like this. Yeah. Yeah, some position like that in which white just goes, let's say, king f1. And yeah, this is a slightly tricky one, but as mentioned, I think very few people who aren't named computer of some sort will be able to get there and not blunder a rook along the way.
How did you win this again? You told me, but I couldn't.
There's some incredibly weird quiet move you're supposed to make, like you get the queen over to, I think, in this position, like you play with the king on e1. Can we get this with black to move with the king on e1 and play queen c5?
I'm not sure which position we're going for.
Like king f1, queen b2, no, queen a2. Yeah, let's meh. Queen a2 here, king f1, queen c2, king e1, and I think here you're supposed to play queen c5, and that somehow wins because white actually runs out of squares. Queen c5 with the idea being king e2, queen h5 check, and you cannot go to e1 anymore because queen h4 wins the rook, and the whole setup gets shaken off by this maneuver. I was not aware of that, but somebody showed it to me once, I remember. And Jan is having fun. Jan seemingly blundered the rook, but it's not actually a blunder because it cannot be taken on the g3 square. That's fun.
I think Maxim will spot that.
Yeah, he will probably spot that, yeah. King f1 here? Am I blundering some stalemate? No, yeah? Yeah, king f1 wins.
Forces instant resignation. Because if this rook goes to g4, queen f3 picks it up.
Yeah, otherwise
goes somewhere else, this is pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, that will be a painful loss for Jan, obviously, capping off a really, really poor day. And Team Russia does themselves a great deal of harm by that loss, because that means that in the standings, Europe is now 2 points behind China and 4 points above Russia in the race for the second place. The way China has been playing, you do kind of count them in already. You feel like they are a bit too solid for anything bad to happen to them. So they are one of the two. Yeah, but I think even losing one match is no longer enough. They would need to lose two, it seems like. And yeah, Russia is now back in fourth place, 6 points off the lead and 4 points off the qualification spot. So they would need to they definitely need to beat the US, and they need some other results to go their way, I think, for them to stand the chance of qualifying for the top two.
Hot take. It's actually good for China that the matches are starting so late over there. Because people are used to playing chess in the evening hours, especially online chess. While the Americans playing in the morning, it's maybe a bigger adjustment.
Maybe, although I think this particular US team, and with the MCI just finished, and both Hikaru and Fabi played for the entire 3 weeks of that. I think the idea of playing chess reasonably early has been, there's been so little break between MCI and this that I think sort of just staying in the same routine was possible for them. For Linier and Wesley, it would have been maybe a bit of a change, but I don't know. But yeah, I think playing online chess in the evening is kind of, you instantly recognize that as more natural. That's what we all do, or at least what we all used to do. Come home after a hard day at the factory and fire up the bullet. Yeah. Go ahead with your okay boomers.
All right, I believe that is it from us today. We'll be back with more of the same tomorrow, even though, you know, it could get exponentially worse. Today was already steep decline, and since we've been on the air for a long time now, we've had 16 days of the MCI, now a couple days of this, with only one rest day. I cannot guarantee for our sanity. I picture The Lighthouse situation playing out on this very show very soon. So watch at your own risk. Thank you so much, Peter, for joining.
Yeah, and I just wanted to point out how incredibly proud I am of you, Jan. Actually thanking people for the sub. You are becoming a Twitch person, and
no, I'm not. Like, I enjoy reading the Twitch chat, but the main interest, of course, is that people come to good old chess24.com. Have a look around, play some chess games, watch some video series, become premium members. That is what keeps all these shows going. But of course, I do appreciate the Twitch subs as well. However, if you want to help us out, visit us at chess24.com or visit our friends at Chessable, where chessable.com/Jan is a great video series, but there are many other great video series / books with Move Trainer technology as well. So check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Mr. Dodgy. Apologies for Peter. He is just a mean person. He can't help it. But you know that he does not mean it. I, for one, was very happy to have you on the stream.
See you tomorrow, guys and girls.
So this is the broadcast tool here, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see in all its glory. You can see the notation. You can also see the engine evaluation next to each move, and also how long they spend.
What I like is you can make your own moves on the board. You can check the alternatives to what the players did. And even for the moves you make, you get the computer evaluation here.
Fantastic.
I think you get it quicker and better as a premium member, such as yours truly. What I also like, there is a chat function. You can exchange things with people from all over the world. If you want to see something else, let's say you're watching a tournament and you want to see all the games at once, no problem displaying. I have no idea how many games there are, like 128 games at the same time. Can do even more. This is a team competition. You click on multi-board.
That's beautiful.
You can see all the 8 games going on at once.
You can see the games and standings, which
What we got? I'll click around. Games and standings here.
Yeah. Analysis, if we click on that tab, that's
Let's
a nice
click on it.
You can see that it's a great little graphical illustration. The red line is 0, that is the absolute even mark. And if the white bars go up, the further up they go, the bigger the advantage. And the black bars show a black advantage.
Then there is a database, and here we get the alternatives. And if we click on a move in the database, bam, it gets played on the board.
Fantastic. And then the PGN can even be downloaded.
I like that feature.
Yeah.
Whatever tournament or game you're following, you click it and you open it in the program of your choice.
Yeah, and one of the great things I like to see as well is when we get a video from the playing hall. I like to see them in their seats, nervous, you feel the tension, you feel like you're there, don't you?
Chess is really becoming a spectator's internet sport.
Great that we can see that. I also love to see the fact that we can get in some of our friends to join us during the broadcast. And it's all interactive, that's what we love. And
a lot of overview functions there.
a lot of great functions there, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you take advantage of all of them. Let's get back to the commentary.
Keep tweeting us, hashtag
tweeting us.
C24Live. We love to hear from you. Ask us anything, mainly about Lawrence.
live, but if you have other questions, they're also welcome.
Also, send us anything you like about Jan. Hashtag C24Live.
Absolutely.